나의 레벨은 다르다 어나더 레벨 핫식스와 함께하는 ASL 시즌 15 24강 D조 경기로 함께하겠습니다. 안녕하세요, 이영경입니다. 자, 어느덧 절반의 일정을 지나고 있는 24강인데요. 이번 시즌은 절대 강자도 절대 약자도 없는 그 어느 때보다 험난한 시즌이 이어지고 있습니다. 지난 금요일에 펼쳐진 C조 경기에서도 3티어 박성균 선수가 16강에 진출하면서 많은 분들의 예상을 빗나갔는데요. 오늘 D조는 어떤 결과가 여러분을 기다리고 있을지 기대해 주시기 바라면서 선수들과 함께 이야기 나눠보겠습니다. 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다.
안녕하세요.
네, 먼저 D조의 탑티어 장윤철 선수와 이야기 나눠보겠습니다. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
장윤철 선수 C조까지의 24강 경기들 쭉 지켜보셨을 텐데 어느 때보다 험난한 시즌을 지나고 있다라고 제가 이야기를 한데 좀 동의를 하실까요?
이번 시즌은 굉장히 두려운 것 같아요. 네, 그래서 저 또한 굉장히 위험하다고 생각합니다.
C조까지의 경기를 지켜보면서는 좀 어떤 생각이 가장 많이 드셨나요?
여태까지 이렇게 많은 시즌 해오면서 한 번도 일어나지 않은 일이 벌어지고 있잖아요. 그래서 좀 보면서 솔직히 좀 무서웠어요. 저도 그렇게 될까봐. 그래가지고 오늘은 좀 더 열심히 더 절실하게 준비해왔습니다.
네. 제가 24강을 진행하면서 이 탑티어에 있는 1티어 선수들이 24강에서 이런 기분을 느낀 건 정말 처음이다라고 입을 모아서 이야기를 하고 있는데 D조도 봤을 때 장윤철 선수가 느끼시기에 호락호락하지만은 않은 조다라고 좀 느껴지시나요?
그쵸. 이게 저는 24강에서 떨어져 봤어요. 저는 떨어져 봤기 때문에 그때 조가 지금 조보다 훨씬 나았거든요. 근데 떨어져서 이번 조는 솔직히 반반 봅니다.
반반. 진출 확률 반, 탈락 확률 반을 예상하시는 건가요?
네, 그럴 것 같아요.
좋습니다. 다음으로 만나볼 선수는 아마 이번 시즌 이변의 시작점이 이 선수의 손에서 시작됐다고 해도 과언이 아닐 정도인데요. 예선에서 이재동 선수를 꺾고 본선에 올라온 정민기 선수입니다. 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다.
네, 안녕하세요. 정민기라고 합니다.
네, 예선에서 이재동 선수를 꺾고 본선에 올라왔습니다. ASL 두 번째 본선 무대를 앞두고 계시는데요. 좀 긴장되거나 하진 않으시나요?
확실히 작년에 처음 올라왔을 때는 그래도 조금 떨리는 마음이 있었는데 지금 그래도 좀 마음은 편하게 먹고 있는 것 같아요. 왜냐면은 조가 솔직히 좀 많이 힘들거든요. 앞에서 윤철이 형이 뭐 반반 본다, 힘들 것 같다 하는데 마음에도 없는 소리 같고요. 제가 볼 때는 저는 마음 편하게 그냥 제 할 거 하자라는 마인드로 왔습니다.
마음 편하다고 말씀하셨는데 예선에서의 경기로 인해서 시즌 13보다 이번 시즌 15 자신감을 좀 채워온 게 아닌가 하는 생각도 좀 드는데 어떻게 생각하세요?
아무래도 좀 컨디션 관리하는 데 중점을 두고 마음을 편하게 먹고 하자고 생각을 하다 보니까 더 자신감이 생기는 것 같고 이변이 일어났으면 좋겠지만 힘들 것 같으면서도 좀 기대는 해보고 있습니다.
내심 기대하고 있는 이번 24강 경기에 정민기 선수 많은 분들이 지켜보고 계실 것 같습니다. 자, 이번에는 김윤중 선수와도 이야기 나눠볼게요. 안녕하세요.
네, 안녕하세요. 김윤중입니다.
네, 지난 시즌 아쉽게도 또 온라인으로 경기를 치르셔서 굉장히 오랜만에 현장에서 팬분들과 함께 호흡하고 계시는데요. 지금 좀 컨디션은 어떠세요?
최근에 또 경기력이 좀 좋아져가지고 컨디션 좋고 오늘 뭔가 느낌이 좋아요. 이변 일어날 것 같습니다. 예.
첫 경기가 김윤중 선수에게 좀 중요할 것 같다라는 생각이 듭니다. 워낙 또 프로토스에게 악몽을 여러 번 안겨줬던 폭군 이재동 선수와의 맞대결이잖아요. 김윤중 선수 역시 저그전에서 워낙 또 좋은 모습을 보여준 프로토스 선수이기 때문에 이 맞대결 성사에 대한 개인적인 생각은 또 어떠신지 듣고 싶네요.
솔직히 저 조를 보자마자 짜준 사람에게 좀 미웠어요.
원망스러우셨군요.
딱 한 명만 피하고 싶었는데 그 선수 이재동 선수였는데 그게 딱 걸려가지고 좀 그랬었어요. 예.
만나고 싶지 않은 상대를 첫 상대로 만나게 된 김윤중 선수인데요. 그 상대 이재동 선수와도 이야기 나눠보겠습니다. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
이재동 선수 역시 팬분들 앞에는 정말 오랜만에 또 서게 되신 것 같습니다. 주말이라 현장에도 또 많은 팬분들이 찾아와 주셨는데요. 현재 좀 컨디션은 어떠신지 먼저 여쭐게요.
컨디션은 좋고요. 지난 시즌에 좀 아쉽게 탈락해가지고 오늘 좀 잘하기 위해서 컨디션 관리 신경 많이 썼습니다.
첫 경기 상대는 김윤중 선수고 또 예선에서 일격을 가했던 정민기 선수와도 한 조의 포진이 되셨습니다. D조에 대한 이재동 선수의 생각 좀 들어볼까요?
뭐 저는 만족은 하는데 제가 조금 ASL에서 좋은 성적을 거둔 지가 꽤 오래돼가지고 약간 좀 일단 24강부터 좀 긴장을 많이 하면서 경기를 해야 될 것 같습니다.
당장 욕심은 조금 내려놓고 한 계단 한 계단 올라가겠다라는 이재동 선수의 각오까지 좀 느껴지는 답변이었는데요. 본격적으로 팬분들은 이 D조 선수들에게 어떤 부분을 궁금해하셨을지도 전해드리도록 하겠습니다. 자, 또 장윤철, 김윤중 선수, 이재동 선수는 워낙 많이 본선 무대를 밟아보셨고 정민기 선수는 상대적으로 좀 본선 무대의 경험이 적은 편인데요. 본인만의 좀 긴장을 푸는 마인드 컨트롤의 방법이 있다면 어떤 방법이 있을까요, 정민기 선수?
딱히 방법은 없는 것 같아요. 원래 좀 이런 분위기를 즐기는 스타일인데
원래 긴장을 잘 안 하는 선수군요.
근데 지금은 좀 다르네요. 또 막상 인터뷰 하니까
네.
긴장이 되는 것 같기는 한데 그래도 막 그렇게 엄청 막 떨려가지고 내 할 것을 못 할 정도는 아닌 것 같고 그냥 이렇게 뭐 좀 긴장이 될 것 같을 때마다 그냥 뭐 노래도 흥얼거리고 하면서 그냥 분위기를 즐기려고 하는 게 제 노하우인 것 같습니다.
많은 선수들이 세팅하고 손을 풀 때 그날의 컨디션을 좀 예상을 하시더라고요. 정민기 선수 오늘 세팅할 때 좀 감은 어땠나요?
일단 인게임 감 자체는 나쁘지 않았고
네.
예, 뭐 운세도 한번 찾아봤는데 나쁘지 않더라고요.
운세까지 찾아보셨어요.
네.
오늘 마음 편하게 오셨다는 말과는 좀 상반된 행동들을 좀 하고 오신 것 같은데 자, 다음 질문 역시 좀 노하우에 관한 질문이 들어왔습니다. 대회 준비를 하다가 힘든 순간 혹은 고비가 찾아왔을 때 좀 극복해내는 다음 단계로 좀 점프할 수 있는 본인만의 방법이 있는지 물어봐 주셨는데 이건 아마 관록이 많은 김윤중 선수가 답변을 해주시면 좋을 것 같습니다.
네, 저거 연습하다가 힘들 때 극복하는 방법. 연습을 잘 안 해가지고 네. 근데 오로지 아프리카 방송을 키고 나서 별풍선 받아가지고 시너지 내면서 극복합니다.
근데 제가 듣기로는 오늘 경기장에 와서 가장 1등으로 진출할 거라고 자신감을 많이 내비치신 걸로 알고 있는데 또 안 보이는 곳에서 많은 연습을 하신 게 아닌가 싶거든요.
아니 이게 제가 항상 상대방을 좀 인정하고 쫄면 항상 떨어지더라고요. 좀 약간 내가 좀 더 잘한다 이런 자신감 때문에 그렇게 좀 약간 멘트 친 것도 있고
네.
그래가지고 좀 자신감 가지고 좀 임하려고 그렇게 말했습니다.
제가 김윤중 선수를 참 24강에서 여러 번 뵙는데 속을 알 수 없는 가장 알 수 없는 선수 중에 한 분이에요. 오늘 김윤중 선수가 어떤 모습을 보여줄지 기대하겠습니다. 다음 질문인데요. 각자 본인의 첫 경기를 승리로 장식하고 나서 승자전에서 꼭 만나고 싶은 선수는 누구일지도 좀 궁금해하셨어요. 장윤철 선수, 정민기 선수를 꺾고 승자전으로 간다면 어떤 선수를 만나고 싶으신가요?
저는 이재동 선수요.
오!
네, 저는 저거전이 더 나을 것 같아요.
같은 질문을 이재동 선수에게도 그러면 좀 드려보겠습니다. 김윤중 선수를 꺾고 승자전으로 향하게 되신다면 예선에서 좀 뼈아픔을 남겼던 정민기 선수에게 복수를 하고 싶으신지.
저는 상관없습니다. 둘 다.
둘 다
별로
그래도
크게
조금이라도
생각
더 만나고 싶은 상대 있지 않으세요? 1%라도.
느낌이 비슷해가지고 괜찮습니다.
어떤 종족이나 어떤 선수나 크게 관계 없다라는 이재동 선수의 답변이고요. 자, 그럼 마지막 질문을 드리겠습니다. 16강에 진출하게 된다면 어떠한 공약을 걸어볼 수 있을지도 궁금해하시는 분들이 정말 많았는데 김윤중 선수.
저요?
네.
공약은 시청자들이 걸어주셔야 됩니다. 이거는.
어떤 것이든지 제가 받아들일 준비는 되어 계신 거죠?
그렇죠. 저는 이제 제가 진출하면 받는 입장이죠. 모르고.
시청자분들과 또 딜을 한번 시도하고 계시는 역시 경험이 굉장히 많은 김윤중 선수입니다. 자, D조 선수도 이제 경기를 곧 진행할 텐데요. 끝으로 네 선수의 각오를 청해 듣겠습니다. 장윤철 선수.
준비 열심히 해왔으니까 꼭 올라가겠습니다.
네, 정민기 선수.
오늘 되게 응원도 많이 와주시고 했는데 그거에 보답해서 좋은 경기력 보여드리겠습니다.
좋습니다. 김윤중 선수.
지금 또 프로토스가 많이 없어요. 제가 또 그 프로토스 중에 한 명이 될 수 있도록 노력하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
좋습니다. 이재동 선수.
꼭 올라가겠습니다.
네, 내 선수 D조 경기에서도 어떤 결과를 받아들게 될지 내 선수 멋진 경기 기대하겠습니다. 인터뷰 고맙습니다. 네, 나의 레벨은 다르다 어나더 레벨 핫식스와 함께하는 ASL 시즌 15 24강 D조 경기를 앞두고 있는 4명의 선수와 함께했습니다. 과연 오늘은 어떤 2명의 선수가 웃으며 16강으로 향하게 될지 4명의 선수 지금 바로 함께하시죠.
What is up, everybody? We are ready to go into Group D here. And frankly, I'm sure I'm not alone on this. I'm super excited for this group. I think everybody can agree this is probably the most hyped group for the round of 24.
Well, I think anything that Jaedong is in is generally going to be more hyped than anything else, like more so than Bisu, more so than Flash. He hasn't been as successful or as active as those players, so it's kind of exciting, and he's always been such a fan favorite. So I can't disagree, even though the weakest player in the group is the Terran, and I think there's no chance he's making it out.
But I'm telling you, man, Bishop is a very good player. It's exciting to see him here in this ASL. I look forward to seeing how he's going to perform. Before we get started with our show, we want to say to everybody who's been supporting us on Patreon, that's patreon.com/ASL English, thank you so much. If you've been meaning to get around to supporting us but haven't gotten around to it, and you need that little push, we do hope you sign up for a year. This production, the English language production and translation, would not be possible without your support. So we appreciate it. Thank you, guys. We love you so much.
Yeah, you guys taking over complete funding of ASL is an amazing thing. It's like a blessing to the scene. So it's awesome. Check it out, patreon.com/ASL English. And we're going to do this forever, man. Like, Brood War truly is never going away. Like, the amount of fans that we have right now, the amount of players online all the time, just the beauty of the game, it's better than ever in a lot of ways.
It really is. StarCraft 2 did take a big hit this year. GSL days have been reduced. But, StarCraft 1, it's in a different spot. This scene was always supported. And here, it was before Blizzard was even involved. And so, interestingly enough, that kind of keeps it in a much safer spot. And the viewership for ASL is insane. This is the best performing thing AfreecaTV does. So this tournament's here to stay, and I look forward to doing it every time a new season comes around.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing as we continue to build up the storylines of these players, and so many of them have such rich, deep histories of 15 years plus at this point. It's just amazing. Taking a look at today's group, Tasteless, what do you think the actual outcome is? What's your brain say? What's your heart say?
I mean, I think Snow gets out no matter what. I do think it's a safe bet that Jaedong can get out. I think that's not crazy. The thing with Jaedong is he has certainly not had the kind of results that you've seen from players like Bisu, where Bisu is really pretty much every time he's in an ASL, he looks so damn good. Jaedong is not always in every ASL. And there's times he's looked great. There's times that he's looked pretty good, but apparently not good enough to get very deep in the tournament. But, a lot of fans are very hopeful that this can be kind of his Phoenix moment where he's going to rise up from the ashes and maybe take this whole thing. Let's not forget that Flash is not in this season, but he will be in the next. So, all these guys so hungry to take this. Shuttle, this guy, out of all the players we've had, I've always been amazed at the way that Shuttle preps and the kind of build orders he comes out with here. He's a very smart player. He definitely studies his opponents very, very well. I think he's a safe bet here, too. As you mentioned, Tastosis Bishop, unlikely to get out. Although I do want to emphasize Bishop is an extremely strong Terran player. He's just, massively overshadowed by the other Titans that are in Group D.
That's a pretty good way to put it. Like, he could make maybe a map upset, but against Snow specifically, it's very, very, very unlikely. Like, this 58.3% doesn't tell the story of Snow. Most of those 10 losses are to Flash specifically.
Yes.
Snow is the amount he's better than everyone else in Protoss vs. Terran can't be understated. Tasteless. He's like I honestly don't even understand the theory of how you would beat Snow in a game. Like, I actually am not sure. He makes the matchup look completely broken.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to run over you there. He is by far the best at this matchup of all time. We don't.
Yes.
There's times we don't have someone who's clearly the best at the matchup. You know, we don't have to declare that or try to make those statements. But when you look at Snow, you go, no, this guy's got PvT down better than anybody ever has. He really is by far the best Reaver user as well. That doesn't mean he has to go Reavers. He just seems to have a very good handle of exactly where the Terran's at, what the limitations are of a turtling Terran. He's kind of shown that you can basically pry open a Terran even when they turtle insanely hard. He knows how to get value out of every interaction. He seems to never overextend with his Zealots and Dragoons, which, I mean, let's be honest, especially when you get later into a game of a PvT, it's sometimes hard to tell how many tanks are in a certain area if they're spread out, and it's easy to overextend and get obliterated. You just don't see that from Snow.
Yeah, he's like I've seen so many Snow games, man. If he loses a game, the Terran barely wins. Barely. When he wins, it's like he has that whole range of like, okay, he squeezed it out to absolutely dominated. And honestly, like, he almost can clown on the non-top of the world Terrans. Like, he literally does clown builds for his stream against 2,500 MMR Terrans, which is that's only a little bit away from being ASL quality. So he's wild. Here against Bishop, I think it's going to be one-sided in my opinion.
All right, guys, good luck, Bishop, because this match for Snow starts now here as we go into Group D in Day 4 here of the ASL.
So we have Snow on the right-hand side here of Heartbreak Ridge. And on the left side, we are going to have Bishop. And, Bishop, I mean, this is an interesting guy. First off, he's a really nice pro gamer. I got to meet him several times when I was traveling around to the different events. Got knocked out by him more than once. And one thing to mention, right, like Flash switched to random for that ASL season, and people are like, whoa, that's crazy. But before him, Bishop actually switched to random. He was getting really frustrated with playing Terran, and he almost qualified for ASL multiple times playing random. Like, he was really close, right on the brink of it, and eventually he just went back to Terran. He didn't have that success, and as he switched back to Terran, he did start qualifying. Obviously he's been a Terran main for so many years, but he was the guy that truly tried to be a professional random player first.
Yeah, I actually get to see a decent amount of Bishop's games. This guy grinds on ladder a lot. I actually don't know, Tastosis. Does Bishop stream?
Yeah, Bishop streams some, but I actually don't catch his stream too much. There's like so many good Terrans to watch. He's like not quite high enough for me to invest a lot of time watching his stream.
No, I could, same thing. It's like I don't watch Harangi's stream like very often.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And that's actually like right. Harangi actually amongst Protoss probably has a higher rank than Bishop has amongst Terran, right? Bishop might be like the 10th, 11th best Terran in the world, something like that. So it's like okay.
But I get to watch people play against Bishop because this guy ladders every day, and all the Protoss streamers, they're encountering Bishop all the time. Yeah. So, I mean, I can definitely tell you this guy is very good. He looks very scary to play against. Bishop's actually the guy that wrecked me in the ACS qualifier we went to like years and years ago.
Oh, he's one of the guys that got you?
He was the guy. Remember we got there and I said, I don't want to know who I'm against. Like,
no, that was Ride Sky you were against.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was Bishop.
Yeah, no, Ride Sky is like... Ride Sky's always like top 10 on ladder, man. That guy's crazy good too.
Yeah. No, I remember it was like so funny because sometimes you can get like a pretty even match, or maybe even like I had some matches, at tournaments where I win. I'm like, hell yeah. But like I ended up playing against the guy who's ranked 6 on the ladder, and he like completely crashed me. Yeah.
No, it's wild. Like, you think about the top players, like, oh, they must be top of the ladder. It's like, no, not really. It's in fact, the lower ranked players play more ladder than the very top ranked guys. That being said, like, Snow is actually becoming a pretty popular streamer and YouTuber and stuff, and like he does play a lot of ladder. But as I mentioned, he literally will do troll builds against people that are the top 100 players in the world, and he'll just smash them with garbage you would never use in a pro game.
Yeah, it's one of these things where he's become so comfortable in the matchup. You know, in most StarCraft games, even if you're against somebody that you're pretty much, you know, way better than, it's really, really difficult to, like, ever really screw around, right? You know what I'm saying, Artosis?
For sure.
Like, if you're A rank and you're playing somebody who's B rank, you can't really mess around with that. If you try to do anything too clowny, you probably will lose.
That's
but
right.
like the fact that Snow is able to do these styling, you know, meme builds against, you know, players, the very best in the whole world is wild to me. This is a 2 factory, and that Zealot got dangerously close to spotting that factory. Now, I can't say that I'm surprised that Bishop was going to 2 factory. 2 factory is basically the cheese, the go-to cheese that, and you know, even good Protoss players can die to it. So this is going to be an exciting one for me personally because I want to see, you know, how does Snow basically deal with a 2 factory?
Well, okay, he actually sees that second factory, so that's a mistake as far as the placement of that goes for Bishop. So Snow can start preparing for that right now. I think he'll just probably add some gateways. But yeah, I can't believe actually he didn't have that mapped out of the vision range of a Dragoon at the wall to put that back a little bit further. That's kind of insane because there could have been a question like, is it a starport? Is it a second factory? But now there's no question because he saw the add-on timing. So you're like, yeah, well, it's 2 factory, and it looks like he's just going to rush up into Reaver probably here. But yeah, as far as 2 fact goes, this is just not popular anymore. Like you rarely see this from top-level players. So I'm excited to see if Bishop has something new and fresh for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of different types of 2 factories. I mean, you can go for mines, you can go for siege. There's usually 2 responses from the Protoss. You can get a Reaver. That's totally fine. It does take a while for the Reaver to get out, so a lot of times the dangers they set up pretty easily. The other one is to get 3 gates, and you basically try to overpower them.
That's right. That's right. And here, though, look at this. There's a starport as well. What do you think the like? Is he going to go Wraith because he knows that, you know, Reavers are the backbone of Snow's army, or is he going to get a dropship to try to split attention?
You know, I'm not sure. I mean, I was going to say a 2-fac alone probably wouldn't cut it, but this is sort of a delayed push out. You know, I think, by the way, it's 3 gates is what Snow's going for. 3 gates is probably actually the correct way to play.
Yeah.
Versus this to be safe is Observer 3 gate. If you find out they're 2-facking a little bit later, you know, when you can try to deal with that when it happens. But really, you need the Dragoons to basically overpower this. It gets scary if Terran can build a bunker and like turrets and start to just kind of slow push into you. But keep in mind, you know, Terran doesn't have an expansion with this, so like, it's really quite weak. I guess he wants to do a vulture drop, by the way.
Yeah, it looks that way. This is completely all in from Bishop. Like you literally, if you don't at least kill the Nexus, you're dead. So we'll see if he's able to. Like Snow with the 3-gate Observer is going to have enough units that this is going to be very difficult to pull off. And I think that's an engineering bay he's building there. So he's going to try an entrenched push with a drop. We'll see how that goes. Sieges up these tanks. He's going to start a bunker for sure. Like that bunker, as you said, that's like the backbone of one of these pushes if you're doing the slow version.
Yeah, he is clearing out these mines over here. And there's a chance that Snow tries to run behind. That's one thing you can do with this is you basically get behind them and try to get their reinforcements and don't engage with the push. He's getting some nice hits off here. And, you know, gosh, he's got to be careful with that dropship, man. That could go right into those Dragoons. But this does seem to be the best way to deal with a 2-factory push is you send, I want to say like 6 or 7 goons just around them, and then you can get the reinforcements. And as time passes, you're going to have enough Dragoons on both sides you can come in here and squash them. But there's a drop coming in here, Artosis, and most of the Dragoons are actually out on the middle of the map.
Well, even if you kill a bunch of probes, like, there's 2 Nexuses. Oh my god, he's going to bring the tanks in?
No way.
This is crazy. What am I even looking at?
I feel like this can't be good.
Yeah, I feel that way as well. But
I feel like this is like a strat from like 1998 or something. Like this is
yeah, this is like something I might have tried in 2002 to mixed success. just completely smashed, like not even close. He's killing a few
this is just
probes
bad
here.
theory. Like you know, everybody knows like you're not going to be able to elevator tanks and push their gateways and win the game that way. Like that's just not going to work. It seems like he basically was caught off guard by the runaround, and then this just seems almost like a cockamamie like solution. I don't think this was the plan to like ferry units into the main. I think he just sort of like looked at the drop ship and then like saw that, you know, the main's right there and thought, okay, well, let's try to dump these tanks over here. But I mean, already I would basically say that now Snow can't lose, to be honest.
Yes, he cannot lose. It's impossible.
Yeah, and by the way, for those of you that like don't like it when we say that, where you're like, oh, I mean, you can't say the game's over yet. Actually, dude, when you two-factory like this and you get nothing done, like, trust me.
Yeah, there's literally nothing you can do. Like, even if you have a good opening against Snow, you can't win. Like, I understand that he had to try something crazy, because like I said, Snow, like, actually bodies every single Terran. Like, honestly, like, you look, he's had matches against, like, Royal after Royal won last season, and just smashes him. He'll lose like 1 map out of 7. So, I mean, someone like Bishop he's literally trying to make magic happen with like a build no one's ever done and a way to execute it no one's ever done. It's like, no, Snow just has too much.
Yeah, and this really shows you the desperation that Bishop feels coming into this match, where he's like, oh god, what do I do? All right, well, this was like the weirdest thing that I could possibly imagine. Let's give this a shot. You know, it's going to be tough, and it's also, by the way, it's going to be really interesting when Flash comes back, because I do think it's fair to say that Snow is even better than back when he beat Flash, when like Flash had finally lost a game for the first time, you know, against a Protoss in like 6 years or something, a series like that.
That's right, yeah, the best of 5, right, in that anti-Terran map pool, like where, yeah. And then remember Flash, what was it, the next season, like crushed him in the finals?
Yeah.
But, or a couple seasons later, but yeah, no, I mean, I think even when Flash comes back, it might take him a few months to be able to really do well against Snow, because no one does. Literally, no one does well against him.
Yeah,
and
like,
he's so far. Look at the supply, Tasteless. He's up 40 supply right now, 97 to 55.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, no, it's crazy, like how strong Snow is at this right now. And, you know, the problem for Terran is if they don't get a second base up right away, the momentum really slows down. Like, we just now had an armory start. It's 10 minutes, 30 seconds into this game.
Normal armories are before 6 minutes, so yeah, that's pretty darn late. You know, realistically, in a Terran versus Protoss, you need your third base up and mining in the next minute and 15 seconds. And the amount that he is far away from that, like 60 supply, man, that's the beginning of the game supply. It's so little. He has no economy. He has no tech. He has no upgrades. It's like nothing is really going on here for Bishop. Like, literally, Snow could right-click his army that's out front there, including the shuttle, into the main, lose it all, and he would still be winning this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough. And keep in mind, with the Reaver tech that's up now, like, Terran has to have a ring of turrets to protect itself, so that makes the third command center even later. Not that I think we're going to have a third command center right away. I think he basically has to go for just a mass set of factories and try to push out. Okay. A lot of times, if the 2-factory fails, it's like, how would you ever get a third base? Try to go for an even stronger push later on.
Yeah, it's just this is why it's not really a build anymore. Everyone holds it like pretty quickly, and then you're just so far behind. By the way, we did see Cloak was researching there for a moment. I don't know if he finished it or he canceled it, but I like the idea, right? Like, the problem with playing against Snow is those 2 Reavers that you see right there in a shuttle, like, you can't kill them, and he just gets infinite value, and it takes forever to push out. Like, this is literally every Terran, including pros. Like, he destroys pros like this. It's like his standard way to play. He just slows you down. But, you know, an idea like Cloaked Wraith, you know, if there's only one observer there, you scan, you kill it, you go kill the shuttle, and suddenly his micro opportunities with those Reavers dissipate. But it's very expensive to get Cloak and Wraiths.
Yeah, Wraiths are the counter to speed shuttles. By the way, a Wraith is as fast as a speed shuttle. So, like, if you're able to do the moving shot pretty effectively with your control, you can actually just chase down a shuttle and kill it. I would not have shown the second Wraith, by the way. The second Wraith raises eyebrows. The first one you expect, right? It's sort of the catch-all. for the Reavers. When you see 2, you go, oh, you're making rates. Okay.
Definitely, it does make you question a little bit right there. Now, Bishop just continuing to make as many units as he can. He's added Goliaths. He literally is like focusing on anti-air very strongly here, which you can't blame him for because those Reavers are just so incredibly good from Snow. Laying a few mines throughout his base. You know, I think he canceled Cloak. Like, I was excited to see him utilize that, but I'm fairly certain he canceled it.
Yeah, I think it's not going to be something he's going to try out here. And, you know, Snow is playing this right. You know, you expand very slowly post holding the 2 factory. Because you know what you really need to do is just have a massive army that you can clobber him with. And, you know, honestly, I feel like this may be, like, at this point in time, the least hype game of the tournament so far. Like, with the writings on the wall as to what's going to happen. Snow's going to be maxed out in about 2 or 3 minutes from now. And he wants to get shots like this. You fire the Reavers, you pick up, and you pull back. And this forces the tanks to siege and unsiege and slowly move out. And all you're trying to do is hit that supply ceiling.
Well, when Snow has a little bit more, like he's up like 50 supply right now, you see the speed lots starting to come. Like a couple rounds of speed lots, and you're just going to crush through this. You know, it's like, what is it, 6 factory right now? Snow is going to max out, and you're not even close. Like, you need 140 supply to hold on against a Protoss max, and there's a bigger deficit than that right now.
Yeah, no, the distance here, the disparity is just too high. We're going to have, again, that max out come in here real soon. And I think that moment's actually now.
Yeah, he's running in, but like that didn't really do anything. That was like a pretty poor attack.
I don't even get it. Why you're not going to attack with all your stuff? What is going on here?
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
I'm so confused.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
I'm not sure what that was. Like, he just wanted to give him 10 zealots. That's fine. It doesn't matter. He's still 50 supply up. He's getting high Templars, more shuttles coming out, lots more zealots, expanding again to a 5th base now. There are a few vultures out on the map, but I mean, there's like pylon walls, and there's a 2nd starport. Okay, this is Bishop. Like, this is what you do when you like forget that you had a starport. The 2nd starport here. He forgot he has a starport, so he's like, it's time to go +2, and he's adding a starport now. So you can tell he's like flustered here. He knows that this game looks bad. He knows that he has no chance, and you know, he's kind of going through the motions.
Yeah. Keep in mind, there's no 3rd base yet for Terran. Protoss is maxed out. There is a Nexus being taken up at 12 o'clock as well. You know, everything that Bishop has is right out here on this low ground area here. I would have to imagine we're going to see him attack in here. Again, you got to be careful that whenever you attack into a Terran. Okay, what am I looking at?
You're watching Snow give up like 12 zealots for a tank.
I think what he wants to do is have the zealots run in, and then he wants to get some good Psy Storms down.
Yeah, but there's so many ranged Goliaths. This is like an interesting thing that we're seeing from Bishop. Like, I like this idea of really super heavy loading Goliath tank as opposed to Vulture, because Snow is so shuttle dependent. So like, you know, that's cool. Like, we never see this. This is like completely fresh, like pure Goliath tank. Like, that's more of a Terran versus Terran set of units. Well, but he's zoned the shuttles way out, so the Psy Storms so far have been quite weak.
Yeah, I guess this is kind of a cool way to approach this. Is like, if you can just shoot the shuttles down, the storms aren't going to hit you. Tanks can shoot the Templars before they can get the storm off. Okay, so Bishop's going to come out now. Oh, that is a great storm there. Oh, my God. Wow.
Yeah, he is going to have to be careful at that. He needs to repair those tanks so badly. Look at this. And then he just runs up and starts throwing down some more storms here as well. Still zoning out reasonably well with the Goliaths. I got to tell you, like, I mean, the game is super one-sided, but he is making some cool moves. And he's making me think, Tastosis. I'm like, should I try this against the speed shuttle style? Like, just get like 8 Goliaths early on?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty cool idea. In my experience, like the really good players do get Goliaths against you to shoot down your shuttles. It makes it a lot harder to pull that kind of stuff off.
Well,
like,
you never get this many Goliaths this early in your composition. You know, like that's a much later game type of thing. Like early game is always Vulture Tank. To have before you're really making Vultures to get like 8 Goliaths to zone everything out, that's really interesting.
Okay, here we go. Great Psystorms here again. And the idea is you're just going to trade really effectively over time. The Psystorm does not respect the upgrades Terran has. And again, I mean, we're about to see Bishop drop to 100 supply, where Snow can easily max out. Now, by the way, I do want to point out, Snow is really playing very safe. I think wisely so, because he sort of knows the only way that he can actually lose this game is to just overextend. You know, this is a best of 1 in the ASL. Just take your time. This Terran still doesn't have a 3rd Nexus up here.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry, 3rd Command Center, I mean.
Yeah,
that's it. GG. Okay, so that was a slow and painful game. But,
yeah.
All right, well, Snow wins that. Again, I think he's very likely to be moving on from this group. We are going to have Shuttle versus Jaedong up next. You know, for those of you who are at the lower ranks, you see a Terran 2 factory, or you think they're going to 2 factory, get your 3 gates up, try to delay them. Don't let them actually entomb you into your natural. You want to get some Dragoons and run around, try to make something happen in the middle, try to intercept reinforcements, maybe a counterattack into their base. Because it's weird, like, it's hard to come in there and kill a Terran when they're sieging up and fighting, but you can actually hold off a push that's going to try to come into the natural and into your main with a very small number of Dragoons. You don't need that much to kind of hold that off while the rest of the Dragoons are going around and attacking.
It's a good point. Like, 4 Dragoons is kind of a magic number where you can 2-shot a tank, so as soon as you see that many goons, you're kind of careful as Terran. And he slowed him down in the front, ran around, and yeah, when you get those goons behind, it's like, what do? You have this little island of Terran units, and it doesn't work well against flanks.
So, Snow looking, you know, as powerful as ever. I do think that Shuttle or Jaedong is going to be a much more interesting match with him. Bishop exhibiting a lot of lack of confidence there, but I guess you can't really blame him. Nobody's ever been better at PvT than Snow has been. Short break, guys. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
상큼함 맥스, 칼로리 X, 맛있는 탐스 제로. 요즘 제일 탐나는 제로, 탐스 제로. 같이 떠나볼래?
솔직히 인간적으로 2개 다 가졌어요, baby. 칼로리 제로, 맛은 제대로. 그래 걱정 빼고 고민 빼고 맘소리 빼고 This is zero life. This is zero life. 뺄건 뺐어 질성제이다 제로. 맛있어 제대로. 없어도 되는 건 빼고 사이다 제로. 질성사이다 제로.
Tastosis, man. Remember way back in the day on the map Lost Temple, where you both spawn at like the top right? There was, if you were against the Terran, every once in a while they would try to push up into your main. That's what I was thinking about on the break when I saw the failed attempt to ferry those tanks back into that base over there. Funny stuff. Anyways, guys. Oh, sorry, Gartos. I think we got to do the Patreon plug right now for this part of the show. We just want to say, guys, please get on Patreon. Support us for a year if you can. Keep ASL going. We appreciate it. We could not do this without you guys.
Yeah, and back to what you were saying there for a moment, Tasteless, like those gully pushes, as we called them, the elevator pushes, whatever you want to call it, where you're like using a dropship to push somebody. it just never really worked. Not even back then.
No.
Back then, like, I literally remember the only year I didn't qualify for WCG, it was off the back of a failed gully push. And it was like, oh my God, this strategy really has been garbage for the last 20 years. So I don't know,
I remember even
man.
back in 1999, I'm like, no, you know, whenever they try this, I can just, it's already hard enough to push me without having to move tanks through a dropship from low ground to high ground. Like, it's going to be, you know, if I just make stuff, I'll probably beat this. This is just not an effective way to engage the opponent. Up next, man, Shuttle versus Jaedong. These are two very different players going up against each other. This should be a fun one to watch. I do think if Shuttle wins, it's going to be off of some kind of crazy esoteric strategic stuff or build order plays. Where at Jaedong, I can just see him mechanically overcoming Shuttle.
It could be. It could be. One thing I do want to say is I do think that Shuttle is a very underrated Protoss player. I actually really appreciate a lot of his skills. Like, I think he's very good at early and mid game. Like, I think he has, like you mentioned, he has some cool build orders. He has some cool strats that he uses that other people don't use as often. And I think he's pretty good at executing everything. But he definitely has some weak points too. Like, for instance, if he goes the losers match against Bishop and Bishop never attacks him, Bishop will win. But, you know, I know a lot about Shuttle's PvT. But as far as his PvZ goes, we have seen really cool stuff from him in the past. I remember, like, some like charged lot Reaver type of things, like speed lot Reaver type of pushes. And I don't know. I think he has chances here to beat Jaedong. But from Jaedong's point of view, like, I think I saw a quote where he said this is going to be the last year that he really focuses on Brood War and really tries to do well. So if that's the case, this is going to be a heavily focused Jaedong.
Yeah, he should be zeroed in here. I do feel like Shuttle, by the way, probably one of the weaker Protoss players in the late game compared to the rest of our Protoss lineup. Would you agree with that?
He definitely makes a lot of bungles in the late game. That's something I've noticed so clearly in his, especially his Protoss vs. Terran. I've seen a lot of his late games there, and he's just like, he can't, when he maxes out, he can't help it. He has to attack. He can't stop himself. It's actually, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
He's so good at the early game, though, and so good at setting himself up to be in a winning position. So, I mean, how do you do that against Jaedong? Jaedong, I think, is the thing that always scares me the most about Jaedong is, like, how he controls his Zerglings or Hydralisks, as an example. Like, when you're playing a PvZ, man, like, you know, Protoss units are strong, but the Zerg units are very fast, and damage comes out quickly. And when you're against somebody who's just so fast at dodging storms or surrounding stuff with Lings, it's scary, man.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like, Jaedong, when he was coming up and he was called, like, the legend killer, it was off the back of a lot of these Zerglings and, like, what he could do with them. I remember specifically watching and being in awe with how decisive he is. Like, he'll see the opening and he'll go for it. He'll run the Lings in, he'll get that damage. He doesn't hesitate, and that's such a powerful way to play Zerg.
It really is. I mean, he's very decisive with his moves. Keep in mind, you know, Jaedong is a player who's here to win the whole tournament. It's really important to note, and that's very different from, like, when you look at somebody like Bishop earlier, where it's like Bishop is just trying to get through this game, man. You know, if Bishop gets out of the round of 24, he's having a party with his friends. Okay, it's like a major celebration. It's a huge deal. Where, you know, Jaedong is here to once again win another StarLeague.
That's a really funny way to put that, Tastosis. I do like that. It's like Bishop is the guy that's living, you know, paycheck to paycheck here in ASL. He's just trying his best, and then Jaedong is maxing out his 401ks and planning for the future and stuff. Totally.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what exactly Shuttle's going to have planned here, because I think he's going to have to come up with something pretty crafty. Jaedong could try to end the game right away. He could try to go for a long game. He really is, I think, that he's got the full picture when it comes to PvZ. He doesn't really seem to have a weak spot in there. So I'm excited to just hop into this game. Let's do this, man.
Just getting started.
So over here in the right side, we have Shuttle. And the left side, we have Jaedong. You know, the only thing I'm really worried about for Jaedong here is, you know, sometimes in the opening of Zerg vs. Protoss, like, you might try to get some damage somehow, and then it just gets blocked perfectly, and then it's like, oh, damn. When he comes out with his full army in 4 minutes, it's going to be really hard. You know that type of game, Tasteless?
Yeah, sure. It's, yeah. By the way, I want to say, like, I remember right when we came back, or maybe this is right around KSL, we were seeing a lot of 2 gates in the center of the map. It doesn't seem like anybody is doing that at all anymore.
Definitely haven't seen it a bit. I guess Mini was the last guy that was really still doing that a little bit.
Rain and Mini that we're toying with it, but it seems like 2 gating is out. I'm sorry, in the middle of the map, I mean.
Yeah.
So Shuttle, by the way, kind of a cool placement of that pylon. I'm curious to see what his wall-in is going to be exactly here.
Huh. Yeah, actually, you're right. That is kind of a funny placement. Yeah. I mean, this has to be a forge opener, right? Because he's scouted right after it.
Yeah, you'd think so. Yeah, you always scout after gateway if you're going to go for the gateway opening. And in this game, it looks like it's going to be overpool here.
Yep, it looks like an overpool, and yeah. I mean that's pretty safe stuff from Jaedong. Can't be too surprised about that. Going ahead and sending his drone over to that third base location as opposed to, you know, being blocked at the natural. And there, right. You know, he puts down the forge. I mean, I don't play PVZ very often at all, and I don't know the wall-ins even when I do very well. But is this normal? Do you do the diagonal wall like we see from Terran players where you connect to the gas? That must be what this is for, right?
I think that's what it is. To be honest, I don't really know the exact wall-ins for this map.
It's been a while since it's been in ladder, so it's definitely not one that you're just like, oh, dude, I just need to play some Heartbreak Ridge games. You know?
Right. You know, there is this area behind the natural where we're looking at now, just to the left of the screenshot. There's a lot of little cannon rush tricks that you can do here, so it seems like Jaedong just doesn't want to engage with that until he has Zerglings in the game. So he expands with his first hatchery down to the bottom left. Gets a gas, gets 2 lings. This is looking like a very standard game so far here.
Some nice harassment from this probe. Hasn't taken any hull damage yet, but has been highly annoying. I like the pylon he's throwing down up behind his natural to watch. Just make sure that Jaedong isn't trying anything cheeky, like mining through those minerals and running some speedlings in.
Yeah. And so now we kind of want to watch from the Zerg's perspective here. Is there going to be any, like a Hydralisk den or anything like that? As long as this probe is alive in the base, you can't really do anything super sneaky. So it's paramount that Shuttle keeps that probe alive for a really long time. And then over here for Shuttle, I mean, I would imagine we're going to see the Cybernetics core and probably a Stargate. There have been some builds where people are kind of opting out of Stargate if they can keep the probe alive for long enough. Let's also not forget, I think, and you were mentioning this earlier, Tastosis, but like Shuttle has done stuff like on speed lots into like Reaver, which can be good. But, you know, if Jaedong's going to play normal, he'll probably start a layer here once he's got enough gas for it. And keep in mind, no ling speed. Once the ling speed gets up, the probe can't, you know, indefinitely stay alive. You're just able to catch up to it and kill it. So seeing the lack of ling speed here is pretty big.
And he did start that layer, but he started at that third base location. So Shuttle, like, not very likely to be able to get the probe out there and then get it back in the main or something like that. So it looks like, you know, I think he kept the probe alive long enough that you're looking at this and saying that I don't think this is going to be, you know, a Hydra rush or anything like that.
Yeah, and he even sends the Zealot down here because he needs to see, is there a den, is there a layer? And so, you know, this is par for the course. He's going to wedge the Zealot back here. Always try to get your Zealots in these corners if you can. You get so much more value trying to fight the Lings. And there it is, the Spire in the back of the base. So this really is like super normal textbook macro PVZ. We don't, by the way, I don't think this is going to be a muta play. I think he's going to have enough Scourge to basically push the Corsairs away. But this is really a very developing game here for Zerg, where you're just trying to build up your infrastructure and not take too much damage. In case you're wondering why these Zealots come out here, you're able to get confirms on what they're up to. You know, it is very easy for, like, after you kill a scouting probe to throw down like a den and then power out a bunch of Hydras. But having the Zealots come out, it keeps the Zerg honest and forces some Zerglings. The last thing you want is for them to just drone up like crazy and it gets out of control.
Absolutely. That's like one of the, I think, harder things for newer players in StarCraft to learn is trying to control Zerg via, like, pressure that's not actually going to attack. Because they have to consider that it could attack, so they have to, like, make units, they have to be careful about that. But realistically, you know, at a high-level game, you turn around a lot of times when you're moving out against Zerg in every matchup.
So the Corsair is going to come in here and scout. If you time this out perfectly, you can basically get out right before the Scourge come and hit you. It's one of those amazing things about Brood War, like how this thing completely balanced out perfectly at the highest levels. And we have air weapons being upgraded here. And so this is going to be +1 attack Zealots with +1 attack Corsairs with charge in the mix. And this is about as standard as you can get. Like, if you're trying to learn a way to play, do this. Do charge lots. You see you get the second gate down here. The Templar Archives is coming along. It's not a hard build to do, but it's very strong. You're going to be fine if they go Mutalisks. You're going to be fine if they go for Hydralisks, as long as you don't get cheesed out early on. And you'll see this kind of standard move where the Zealots are going to come out and try to force a sunk and see, okay, maybe Zerg's being too greedy. If they are, you can punish it. And now, by the way, we see Mutalisks hatching. So now this is no longer a standard macro game. Behind the Scourge...
Tastosis, he got 3 gases really, really fast here.
Yeah.
So that's like the fastest I think I've ever seen 3 gases in a Zerg versus Protoss game. And now that he's fielding these Mutalisks, like, obviously he must be getting plus Carapace. We can't really see that here, but, like, I mean, he's got to get a little bit of damage, right?
Well, he wants to basically win the game here with this. If he can get enough Scourge out here and Mutas, he can do that, like, you know, the Ogres or Gamer joke we're talking about. But, like, it's going to be really scary. Like, he's already got more Scourge back there. He's turtled up. There's also the option to switch to Hydras. This is one of the things that can be confusing for the Protoss. By the way, the SimCity is so good. That's insane. So he wants to try to come in here and take this down. Now, these Mutas did not come out right away. He did send the Zealots out. The idea here is, you know, you can at least make the Mutas try to deal with these Zealots before they come into your base. But when you see this many Mutas and this many Scourge, and he's still making Scourge Artosis, he's going to try to force the Corsairs into maybe the corner of the map and then close in on them with the Scourge. Now, keep in mind that +1 attack Corsairs, they can kill Scourge before they touch them. But, you know, this is a funny situation where both armies are actually very much glass cannons.
Yeah,
and so you really have to control right. Like, sometimes you'll see the Corsairs kill everything, and then other times you'll just see the Scourge get the right connections, and suddenly the entire anti-air setup that Protoss had has been wiped out.
Well, that is such a large cloud of Scourge there. Like, we've seen before where they'll just kind of, like, fly into the main and target a cannon and then try to zone all the Corsairs out. Do you foresee something like that, or is he gonna, like, it looks like Shuttle's safe, so do you just switch into Hydra?
You can. I mean, and this is, you know, I was looking to see if Shuttle is going to get baited into making an Archon, because you can, like, switch into mass Hydras, and this gets Zerg into an extremely good mid-game. As long as he has his comp and he gets the Hydras out, you got to be really careful as Protoss. Like, the last thing you could ever do right now as Shuttle is expand.
Oh my god, look at those Corsairs come up. They get some sick volleys there. Just a ton of pain onto the Mutalisks, which will fly away, but we see a bunch of Hydras starting to pop out now.
Yeah, this is where the Hydra tech switch comes in here. And, you know, remember, you know, these games we would have where the Mutas would try to target the Templars? Well, it's hard for the Corsairs to protect the Templars when the Scourge start to pursue them. And, you know, it's not like StarCraft 2 where the Templars have an attack. Nothing can stop the Mutas from killing them. And then if you snipe 2 Templars, you can sometimes just overpower them with Hydras alone. It's a very deadly way to play the game.
Yeah.
He is also getting a 4th base. He's kind of doing everything he needs to do. Jaedong looks to be in incredible form right now. I think that Shuttle's actually playing the kind of game he needs to play. Hold on here. We see the Scourge get chased away there. Shuttle's probably going to go up to 8, possibly even 9 gates.
Dude, there's so many Scourge and so many Corsairs right now, but he's switched really heavily. Look at this. The Corsairs are crushing every time they approach. I think Jaedong isn't going to get anything done with the Mutas and the Corsairs. I mean, the Mutas and the Scourge, rather. The Corsairs are, like, really on top of things, but his Hydralisk count is pretty darn high.
Yeah. It's looking very good. Now, if the Protoss really doesn't engage, and I think for the most part, Shuttle's really kind of stayed back and played it safe, you can eventually set up a Lurker Contain if you want. You can't keep making Scourge and Mutas, though. And is he going to try to take a fight? He's going to come in here and try to snipe. Oh my god, he gets one. He gets one and didn't even have to use the Mutas to snipe that. That's insane.
That's wild right there. Now a huge arc of Hydras are coming in. Hey, Shuttle just a little bit too slow. I wish he had gotten that Storm out, but it feels like Jaedong is starting to take control of this game.
This is what's so scary about playing against Jaedong, is he's able to snake around with the Hydras and kind of bob and weave away from the Psystorms. Now, keep in mind, because Protoss can't expand, it's organically set Protoss up to have a pretty scary push. We're going to see some storms on these Hydras. No, Shuttle showing a lot of patience, is not going to pull the trigger too soon. Lurkers are coming down, and, I mean, it's a lot. What is that, 12 Lurkers?
That is 12 Lurkers suddenly. Like, I'm not used to watching Zerg play like this. The very fast 3 gas, a million Scourge. Doesn't get to do Ogre Zerg Gamer, but he's macroing so well. And then with all that excess gas, like the most Lurkers ever all at once. I mean, this is... I love watching Jaedong, man. Jaedong in shape is like maybe the most fun StarCraft player in the world.
Well, it's crazy what he's able to do. Oh my god, he's got to be careful with these Scourge. You need to have something to get in the way of this, like the Mutas. Here we go, here we go. Oh my god.
What?
That is so bad.
Dude, he just killed like 6 or 7 Corsairs in a matter of like 2 seconds with those Scourge. How in the hell did he split those correctly against a stacked clump of Corsairs?
He drew it in the first few shots with the Mutas. That's all you need. It's a draw on that shot, and then the Corsairs can't catch up as the Scourge come in. A big push is coming here. I think there's too many Lurkers, man. I don't think Jaedong can die. And Jaedong actually has like the right number of Hydras for a counterattack here. Nice Storm. Not bad at all.
Pulls back from that Storm. The Lurkers are actually kind of out of position here. And Shuttle has a lot of Dragoons.
He might be able to just circumvent the Lurkers entirely. The counterattack is great here. He's going to kill those cannons, probably even killing the Nexus.
Oh, it looks like the Dragoons pull back for a moment. He still has some observers in there, so can see those Lurkers. A lot of Lurkers still out of position. These Hydras trying to dive onto the Nexus. In the meantime, Jaedong microing forward there, trying to kill off some High Templars. It looks like he's just barely not going to kill this Nexus.
Look at this micro with the Hydra. He's like, I'm just going to get a few more shots, so this is going to be killable later on. He's like kiting with one Hydra to hit a Nexus he knows he won't kill. Jaedong is so fast, he is everywhere right now. By the way, I don't know if we've really touched on this that much, but Jaedong's already grown into the bottom right. So he's basically taken half the map already before 15 minutes.
Yeah, his macro is really on point this game. And for some reason, he's got like 15 Overlords there. And now the Mutas come in to try to snipe the Nexus. Tasteless. That one hero Hydra setting this up for his bro Mutas.
That was wild. I want to point out, too, with StarCraft 1, everything has to be done manually. And you really got to appreciate how good Jaedong is to have literally get half the map in 15 minutes. He has Lurkers everywhere. Every time we see a fight, he is microing. I don't know how he's able to go this fast. It is crazy.
Oh, he's setting up a massive drop right now. Shuttle is coming across the map. There's a lot of Lurkers on this high ground, so it's going to take him a moment to break through, which will allow Jaedong to get this big drop-off. He might see those Overlords moving from the corner of his eye, but, I mean, his main base is going to fall. Tastosis. Does this turn into a base trade?
I mean, let me tell you something. I think that Shuttle is basically done. I don't think Shuttle can even win with a push over here. There's going to be so many Hydras and Lurkers here. All the infrastructure is going to be wiped out. Jaedong can just continue to flee back to where his Lurkers are. All the gateways are going to be picked off here, and even then, I think eventually Jaedong's going to have enough. He can actually grind this push to a halt, too.
I tell you what, I'm getting chills right now. I'm getting flashbacks of like 2008 Jaedong games. The fact that he's dropping while defending this after he expanded the whole map, like, this is absolutely amazing. Now, Shuttle will clean up most of that drop in his main base. He gets a great storm there, as we just saw, but he lost the Nexus. He lost a bunch of the gateways as well. So definitely in a bit of a rough spot.
Yeah, I mean, with the Nexus remade, God, Shuttle's just hurting right now. That drop, I meant to bring this up earlier, but drops on this map are so good. They're so easy for the Zerg to do as well. That it really causes a problem in these long games. You know, you really can't lose that much stuff in your main to a drop. You have to have more control over the map in general. Now, it looks like Protoss is going to push into this base down here in the bottom center. So it seems like there was a little bit of an imbalance there. But I have to imagine eventually these Hydras and Lurkers can just come up here and clean this army up as well. I mean, this is Shuttle. That's actually, you know, Shuttle supply is pretty crazy, actually. Maybe I should stand corrected here.
Well, his economy, though, really, it's not that big, right? Like, he's got the 2 bases, but not that many mineral patches between them. Like, I don't know. I still feel like Jaedong is in pretty good shape here. Still utilizing these 3 Mutalisks, somehow trying to get another High Templar. Oh, my God, he gets it? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, man, those Mutas can last quite a while, man, when they get that armor upgrade. Another push comes. Oh, my God. There's a Lurker here.
With 12 kills, nonetheless. Jaedong really is everywhere. This really does harken back to some of his prime play in the old days. Amazing multitasking going on, trying to defend all these areas. Another attack from Shuttle. Now, that attack, these obviously he can't do much with these Hydras, but picks off what he can. Going to pull back, and oh my God, a Lurker drop at the last remaining mining base.
Yeah, this is crazy, man. Oh, and the Lurker wall over here. So good. I mean, you know, it's...
my God.
I got to point out, like, all these other great Zerg players that you can watch play, they're so... a lot of times you'll see they're either a drop guy, harass guy, or they're a macro guy. When you watch Jaedong, it's everything. He's dropping everywhere, he's harassing everywhere, and then his macro's insane. Now, that being said, Shuttle is kind of doing a pretty wild job of basically taking out bases at the bottom center, coming in and harassing the bottom right. But Jaedong is really exploiting a positional imbalance here where this army that's all the way down at the bottom can't come up here and save that base. And Jaedong has mining bases right now. Shuttle does not. Shuttle just mined out his natural and now is stuck over here with what he's got. He doesn't even have enough money for a Nexus. He has to long distance mine. So I think we are in the twilight of this game.
It certainly looks that way. Triple Observer here to try to help him see the Lurkers. But look at the surface area here from Jaedong. His Hydras come in from all sides. He's going to be able to kill this off. And Shuttle with no economy left, no supply left, no army, no nothing. Jaedong going to take him down in style. What a game from Jaedong.
That was sick. I got to say, that's the best I've seen Jaedong play in a long time. And I've seen him in some pretty incredible games, but that was terrifying. And by the way, Shuttle actually played very well. Like, I'm kind of blown away that he was even taking out bases. But, you know, you could really go back and look at that game and see how Jaedong understands positional situations. He dropped at the perfect moment. It was the moment that Protoss had to push. He knew exactly when to counterattack with the Hydras. They almost killed that. He then knew that he could use his Mutas to just take that Nexus out. The moment that Shuttle thought he might have an advantage, Jaedong once again counterattacks in there, taking out that third base. And ultimately, Shuttle is out of options.
That was just a pleasure to watch right there. Jaedong certainly looks to be in that high-level shape that we were expecting him to be in this year. And if he continues to play like that level of play, he might be able to kill Snow as well.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I look at what he did back there, I feel like he could beat anybody. Also, important to note, he does not jump the gun when he has the Mass Scourge and Mutas. A lot of Zerg players, they feel the itch. You know, they will try to do something and it'll backfire. But Jaedong really kept it patient. And by the way, probably the first big screw-up from Shuttle was when he lost all those Corsairs.
That's right. He was actually playing a really clean game. I was actually a bit nervous for Jaedong with his like Corsair retention, how he was taking every battle. You pointed out how like he wasn't even baited into making an Archon. He was being very careful with everything. So I felt like Shuttle actually was in a good spot, but Jaedong with that killer instinct, just playing an amazing game. Up next, he's going to go against Snow.
실성사이다 제로.
상큼함 맥스, 칼로리 X, 맛있는 함스 제로. 요즘 제일 탐나는 제로, 우리들의 제로 탐스 제로. 같이 떠나볼래?
Baby, I'm the queen. I'm free. I never knew that I could be.
All right, man. This is going to be an insane match. I am so excited. Snow versus Jaedong. You cannot ask for a cooler, better matchup than this. And by the way, Jaedong looked so good. I mean, he might actually just kill Snow and move on. That could actually happen.
Yes, that is a real possibility. After watching that game, I'm renewed in my hopes of Jaedong getting very deep this season. That looked absolutely fantastic. But Snow is, well, his Protoss versus Zerg historically has been much weaker than his other matchups. But honestly, it's really good nowadays. I think he has one of the best Protoss versus Zergs nowadays. So it is still going to be a tough one for Jaedong.
Yeah, Jaedong not coming in here with new ideas in that last ZVP, but really perfect execution. Like, you could have seen that game 15, 16 years ago. That's just really good ZVP. All the fundamentals, not overextending with Mutas and Scourge, microing Hydras really well, getting a lot of lurkers out, using drops, utilizing counterattacks. I mean, he's got it all there. It wasn't like it was a new age build. It wasn't a crazy trick you can only pull off once. It was good fundamentals. But Snow, I mean, look, he's the best PvTer in the world, but his PvZ is very scary. Snow is in better form now than he's ever been in. We're going to the map Dark Origin. I am so excited. Let's do this, guys. Jaedong versus Snow starts now. Okay, we've got Snow over here in the top left in the red, and his opponent in this two-player map. In the bottom right in the blue is Jaedong. Before we get into this game, guys, we just want to say, if you haven't supported us on Patreon yet, we really encourage you to do so. We love doing ASL. We love doing StarCraft. This is the game that started it all, and it's still here. And with your support, you're making this English broadcast possible. Thank you, guys. We love you. Patreon.com/ASL English.
Yeah, you guys are the best. Sign up for a year. There's more than one ASL, and, you know, we're going to just keep doing this as long as it is supported, and hopefully that is forever. Thank you so much, everyone. And, I mean, it's games like this that we love StarCraft 1 for. The fact that Snow is in top form. We just saw Jaedong, who's really giving ASL a huge shot this year, is playing as well as he did against Shuttle. Anything is possible. It feels like the old days again. That last game, I swear to God, it made me feel like I was back in 2008, 2009, you know, in Korea watching this on a television being like, damn, look at these moves. Jaedong is on fire.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's wild seeing how well he did that. And I mean, that was like, you know, not a Hydra bust. It wasn't some kind of weird 9-pool speedling rush. It was like, nope, we're going to play as straight up as you can play. And to take down a player like Shuttle, who, again, I think played a very good game that game back there as well. Definitely different from the PV2 we started the day off with here.
Well, we did talk about that. Bishop is, like, he's good, but he's considerably lower than these other three.
Right. So Snow opens up for the Gateway Expand, which, you know, is totally fine. It's a very good build to try to open up with here. I'm curious to see how exactly Jaedong's going to play this. We do have the probe denying the first hatchery, and I think if he clicks this fast enough, he can actually block this hatchery as well. This is actually bad for Jaedong.
That's really painful. Look at the damage on the drone already as well. A second drone going to make its way out to the natural, and he'll just have to send that one drone home, I guess.
Yeah, so already doing quite a bit of damage. The first Zealot is going to come out. It looks like he did manage to hide that other drone over there. Delaying the first hatchery is a pretty big deal. It's not just an expansion, it's a production facility for Zerglings and drones. And Jaedong, you know, he's one of these guys, he's so good with his link control. He's very often able to kill that probe without even getting link speed. The third hatchery comes down, and now we want to see, is this going to be a layer and a normal game, or are we going to have any weird surprises like perhaps the Hydralisk Den here for a bust?
Would you have a style that you would suggest for him to utilize against Snow? Because Snow is really, he's on the short list of people that could win this season, so you got to do your absolute best move here.
You're right. Yeah, no, I like that question, Tastosis, because it's not like, you know, Jaedong's saving his real, you know, ZVP stuff for later, right? I'm not sure. You know, I feel like in the games we casted of Snow, he wasn't really Hydra Rush that much. If you remember correctly, I feel like he was not one of the guys that was dealing with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'm not really sure. You know, one thing about the Gateway expands, and Protosses have gotten so strong lately at trying to check for that Hydra bust because it is such a strong rush. And that's why you see these Zealots coming out here now. The idea is that you're kind of always keeping something out on the map to confirm and check what's going on here. By the way, that's the Forge in the main. So he gets the Forge in the main. He's getting the Cybernetics core probably over here at the entrance then as well. Definitely does not want to lose that Forge early on to any kind of early pressure here. And he could send these Zealots down to the bottom on the left side of the mineral patch. You see there's this absolutely horrible hole that you could put them in. This is going to take forever to kill these Zealots now.
Oh, you can't kill those. Like, the way he walked back with that, if you try to attack with two lings, both Zealots will attack. That's crazy. What a place.
Like maxed out Zerg army against these two Zealots behind that mineral patch. It's still a game of chance, man.
Dude, yeah. I think you almost need to plague those before you attack in. Like, that's how hard that's going to be to kill those.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing that he got that back there. By the way, the probe has been doing some good scouting here, too. And, you know, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Jaedong looks like he's probably going to play something similar to what he did in Game 1. And why not? Why would you not do that? He played so well. I don't see any way Shuttle could have beaten him in that last game. He's going to send these other two Zealots down to meet up with the two that are already there, because he's realized that Zerg's not going to try to engage with this, so maybe he can force out some more Zerglings. Oh, maybe not. He's going to go back. But you get the idea. Whenever you send the Zealots out like that, it's to force out more Zerglings.
Well, more Zerglings did get forced out. In fact, the probe sees that right there. Quite a few lings being made. That +1 going cannon at the front. The Stargate is coming up. I hope that he plays that same style, man. But look at this. Look at that. He pulls the Zealot back, and two are attacking against two lings at once. It's just so efficient.
Look at this. It is, you know, the path into Broodor isn't ideal, so you have to, like, really do a lot of work to get those Zerglings to stay back there and they don't run around like idiots to the other side of the mineral patch. So anyways, he cleans that up. Anytime you can, like, pull the Zealot wedge off, where you just kind of wedge them back behind mineral patches, it's almost always worth it. And keep in mind, you're getting to watch what they're making while they're doing that. You get to see what hatches from the eggs. So, like, it's really good.
Yeah, very, very important thing that you point out there, right? Like, because I think a lot of people just look at that and say, like, the Zealot killed 3 Lings, Tasteless. That's only 75 minerals worth 100 minerals, you know, against the 100 mineral Zealot. Like, how could that? That's not worth it. It's like, well, it's doing a lot more than that.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, Zerg is able to switch their tech so quickly. Just being able to spy on what they're doing is always nice. Little subtle move there by Snow, but if you watch closely, he's making sure that all 3 of the Zealots could hit at the same time on that Ling, so that that you're not getting that, like, your forces are under attack alert. There's all these, like, little... Oh
my God. That's a big deal. If
good.
Jaedong goes for the Mutas again, like, he already lost the first Corsair, man. That's
well, this
dangerous.
Corsair, I don't know if this is going to be a hard one to get back home. He needs to get an actual scout off here. Yeah, look, you lose like 2 or 3 Corsairs, and they can just, you know, shove with Mutas and take you out if you're not careful.
Well, let's see what he's actually going to hatch out of these eggs. Some more gateways starting to go up, some cannons as well. So Snow's being a little bit careful, and there are the Mutalisks. The 3rd gas going up as well. So very similar to what we saw previously, but it's going to be stronger from Jaedong this time because he killed that first Corsair.
Yeah, I'm a little bit afraid here for Snowman. This is scary.
Well, his Zealots kind of
Snow
go
not
way up.
overextending.
What are
Sorry,
his Zealots doing way up on the side there? Is he, like, just waiting for a counterattack, I guess? Yeah, he's trying to come in from, like, a really funny angle where Jaedong's not going to expect it.
The Zealots don't have a lot of use back at the natural. The cannons basically keep you safe. But if you hide the Zealots, if the Zerg starts to get ambitions to come, you know, be aggressive at you, sometimes you can just run in with the Zealots and, like, kill all the drones, or sometimes just even target down a hatchery. That can be pretty effective.
Well, he's only sending 1 in right now, and Jaedong, like, sees it instantly, immediately starts microing his drones. The Muta's going to come over and help to clean that up. So doesn't actually get any damage. Great micro there. Great awareness from Jaedong. But Snow right now, he's adding... Look at the amount of cannons he's adding. That's really interesting. Like, he's being very, very careful. He even has a hidden High Templar there in case Mutas jump on him.
Well, he knows that it's very tempting to go mass Scourge and Muta and try to just wipe out the main. And so having the Templar hidden there is very important because, you know, Mutas, they don't have great vision range. And, you know, if when you get in the base, you're going to see the cannons. The odds of you looking above that assimilator are very low. You can see he's even sending, he's trying to confirm are there more Mutas hatching. He's going to see that. And I think we're going to see Jaedong pull the trigger. This is going to be very tough. I don't know where the Corsairs are on top of the Nexus, excuse me.
Against 3 cannons and a Psystorm, I could see Jaedong like this going very wrong. But if that Psystorm doesn't do good damage, the Corsair count is not so high.
Here we go. He's moving in now. Scourger out.
God. Oh, wait. The High Templar is still hidden there. Whoa! Some probes go down there as well. A lot of damage. Look at that. Look at how he's hidden behind that little smokestack. That is crazy, man. Beautiful.
Yeah, he literally hides it so that I don't even know how you target that. That's crazy. Maybe you don't. Maybe you hold position there to get that.
Yeah.
But he did it, man. He got that down. But, you know, this is not enough Mutas now to finish the job. So, in a lot of ways, Snow wins that. Snow comes out ahead. He shut the Mutas down. Scourge are not going to give you a lot of value in the long term, right? The Corsair count was shut down. I don't know the specifics of a game like this, if you're supposed to keep making Corsairs or not. I guess in this case for Snow, the answer is no. We don't see the lights blinking on that starport or Stargate just yet. But I got to say, a masterful hold there, and definitely something worth stealing if you're watching that. Like, he literally is using the fact that that little corner sticks out of the assimilator to keep the Templar almost impossible to see.
Yeah, we've seen some funny stuff like that. Like, remember when someone hid when they were in the bottom left of the map? They hid their High Templar behind the mini-map because everyone's UI is the same, and, like, you can actually put a unit there that can't be seen. Like, there are some really clever places to put High Templars against Mutas.
Now, this is a push coming out here. Keep in mind that Jaedong did Muta back up a lot here, and with no Corsairs, it's really hard to not have the Templars get sniped. So I'm wondering how he's going to do this. Sometimes you can make a Dark Archon if you're not going to go for Corsairs, and then a lot of times you want to hide it. And so when they see it at the last second, you just use Maelstrom to catch those units. But this push is going to definitely punch out this hatchery over here at 3 o'clock.
Well, we have a little bit of a counterattack going on from Jaedong. He brought a little group of Hydras with his Mutalisks, and there's really nothing here. So it looks like Snow is being drawn back. Oh my god, the Hydra's coming up, getting stormed like crazy. Those storms were insane from Snow.
And honestly, I think that Jaedong, this may have been an unwise move because now these Hydras can't get out. If you can just block the ramp with these Dragoons, they can't even get into the main right now. And, you know, all these units are just going to be picked off. Beautiful control here. More Zealots are going to come out to intercept those Hydras. And, you know, that may be a moment that we're going to look back on and say this is why Jaedong lost this game. I'm not saying the game's over yet, but, like, that the two storms were completely insane, first of all. They got so much value.
I think Jaedong was microing the actual counterattack and not that group of Hydras, so he just didn't see it. And Snow, like, he saw it, he hit the storms, killed a lot of Hydras. If Jaedong had been microing those Hydras, I think the whole game would look different right now. But now Snow is getting ready to attack this third base. And is Jaedong going to have enough? He's making a lot of Mutalisks still.
Okay, now he could get some great storms off over here on the drones. I think that would probably be the best move. Instead, he's going to save it here for the Mutas. Gosh, I think a storm on the drones would have been much wiser there. Oh my god, the counterattack is back, Artosis.
Yeah, he does get a few of those drones, but this Hydra attack is very scary. Zealots going down, they're going to tank a lot and deal a lot of damage, but only 4 Dragoons going to be left. Okay, a big chunk of the army here of Snow coming back, but now the Mutas getting on top of these High Templars. Oh, the storm hits them again. So much damage.
Hydras are going to come up here. There are enough Zealots trickling out that he can catch these Hydras before they can get inside the main. More workers are going to go down here. This has become an extremely scrappy game. I would love to do the probe count and the drone count at this point in time, because we've had a lot of workers killed. Nobody has, the Protoss doesn't have any third base. The Zerg is now trying to take a fourth base again. Neither player can get into late game here.
This is such a wild game. I am enjoying this so much. Like, all the counterattacks that are going on, the scrappy fights, tons of damage on the armies on both sides. Snow now with these 1-1 upgrades trying to join up his army, but Jaedong has just been so mobile. He is everywhere with the Mutas and the Hydras.
You know, there's just enough Zealots and Dragoons. A lot of times when you see just Zealots and Dragoons, it's always a bad thing. Not in this case. Like, he just has enough to take those Hydras to task. Keep in mind that the Hydra count is getting lowered over and over again here. He's not going to be able to eventually deal with what will be an inevitable push here from the Protoss. Protoss is eventually going to get up to like 150, 160 supply. You know, either +2 attack or +1 armor, or the reverse, +1 attack, +2 armor. But, you know, he's, oh, there it is, +2 armor. I'm worried that a push may just topple the Zerg. That being said, anytime a real committed push comes, I guess you could just keep counterattacking, right?
Well, that's been his plan so far. I think if he's going to hold, he might have to get into lurkers at this point. It doesn't feel like his Hydra Muta is going to maintain against these great upgrades from Snow any longer. But, I mean, when you're only counterattacking, it's scary as Protoss. Like, if you lose that natural, for instance, you're not likely to win the game even if you kill a Zerg base in response.
I would love to see 1 Templar left back in the natural to storm. You just need like 3 cannons and a Templar. Instead, he's going to actually get this engage over here. I think Snow is getting into a position that's probably winning if he gets the 3rd Nexus up. He is going to deny this hatchery again. The more times you see a hatchery go down and a 4th base not get up, the worse it's getting for Zerg. Another counterattack, but the problem is it's starting to seem like Snow always kind of has enough in any fight. Like, the Zerg can come in there and try to do damage. He needs to kill that drone, by the way.
Oh, the storm's going on those Mutas 3 times. All the Mutas so badly damaged. Jaedong continues to refill his Mutalist count, but they're so expensive. Like, you really do need to get a bit more value with them.
Yeah, Forge turning again now, so probably getting +2 attack here. The mineral patches are starting to get a little bit light here for Zerg. I think we've still got several more minutes of action. But, you know, when the main depletes or the natural depletes, the Zerg really feels it. Zerg a lot of times only have one drone on each patch. People always come into my stream just about every day and ask me, like, how many workers am I supposed to make? It's actually such a complicated question. It's so hard to answer. But I will say, generally speaking, in a lot of these games with Zerg, you just have one worker per patch. Terran and Protoss, that gets crazy. So when the patches deplete, the Zerg really feels it.
It does take a while. Like, Zerg mine for a lot longer on their mineral patches, but when their gases go dry, of course, that really changes things up quite a bit as well. Speaking of which, Snow has secured a third gas. So his High Templar count, his Dragoon count, is going to be carried forward. And, I mean, if you're still sitting here going Muta Hydra, that just doesn't beat High Templar Goon.
Yeah, we're getting to the point where the Zerg's army is obsolete. Like, you know, when the Muta Hydra is terrifying until the Protoss is really big. Until there's enough Dragoons that, like, it really is hard to get in there and get anything done. You know, are you really going to give up, like, 1,000 gas of Mutas to try to snipe one Templar? You know what I mean? Like, how, you know, when does this become ridiculous?
Yeah.
And you can see even, you know, he knows that, like, basically the Mutas, because they have to stop when they attack, like, he's trying to just storm the Mutas themselves to keep them on the move. Jaedong's actually built up quite an army, though, of Hydras here. Nice snipe. Okay, really good play.
Wow.
Almost storms his observer.
But there is reinforcements coming up. Now look at this. A counterattack into this third base. Storm's going down. A Dark Archon even being made. Dude, Snow is like a perfect Protoss. This is ridiculous. His army is looking so scary. And Jaedong's counterattacks, they're not doing anything anymore.
Yeah, the Storms are going to blanket these Hydras, and this is another big shutdown. In fact, this may like be a pretty good layup to just come and push in once again.
It feels like Jaedong is like rubbing two nickels together to make a quarter at this point. He just doesn't have the right tools. He's running in, he's trying to get these snipes, he's trying to have these really important small engagements, but Snow is everywhere. His army composition is amazing, and now he even puts a DT into the brand new fourth base, which, Jaedong losing 4 drones immediately.
Yeah, this is brutal. This is such value to get that. That's too bad there's not an Overlord there. It just goes to show you, like, there's so much to do in StarCraft that even the great Jaedong, like, can't quite keep up. This fourth base is going to spell disaster for Jaedong here. Protosses on 4 bases are totally fine going into a late game. And keep in mind as well, everybody, there are not a lot of bases on this map. This is not Vermeer. Okay, like, there's actually not many more places Zerg can go to. So, I mean, Protoss can sit on 4 bases for a really long time in the game. I don't know that a 5th base is going to be something you can take, but I don't know if a 5th base is something that Zerg can take either. We're just going to keep zooming in on that DT. We're eventually going to see, like, a zit on its forehead. It just goes further and further down.
Yeah, he wishes he was invisible for sure right now.
Yeah,
It was something I just saw interesting I wanted to bring up. Like, I see that +2 armor, +1 attack quite often, but we're actually on +3 armor, +1 attack, which I've never seen in Protoss vs. Zerg. Is this a standard thing now?
I think it is now that he did it. I actually always thought you're supposed to get +2 attack, but I guess not. I guess armor's the way. Can someone break this? Can someone message me on Twitter? What is the real, like, the rationale for this? I get that, like, Dragoons are tankier with +2 armor versus Lurkers, but, like, yeah, I actually just don't know. I mean,
it could just be because he continues to make Mutalisks, and taking 3 away from all the glaives is pretty insane.
You're really smart, Tastosis. Yeah, that's probably a really good point. It's just harder to snipe anything at all. Hydra or this whole unit comp is built off of sniping things.
Yeah,
with Hydralisks and Mutas.
But honestly, I've never seen it. I've just never seen +3 armor, +1 attack in any matchup, in anything. So very interesting to see that for the first time here. You know, the game is 25 years old right now, so very cool. Something brand new.
You know, it's funny, for most of the game, it was attack, always first. Always get attack. You know, you'll have +3 attack, +2 armor maybe, but this is really enlightening to see the armor play. So now he's starting to roam. Now, the Dark Archon is great because you can freeze the Mutas if they come at you. Oh, and I didn't even, you know, I should have noticed this earlier, but it didn't occur to me. You can storm from the low ground.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is brutal. And, you know, there's really not a lot Zerg can do with that. The problem that Zergs have now for the Protoss is it's hard to attack into the Protoss. Archons, Zealots, and Dragoons, the symbiosis those units have together when they fight, it's crazy. You have the Dragoons in the back doing tons of damage, the Zealots in the front soaking, and then the Archons with the splash. And then you have Templars on top of that. It's like so tough to deal with. So what Snow's done is he's elbowed his way into like the middle of the map, and he's just going to basically stay here and chuck Psy Storms into the mineral patches. And, I mean, I'll tell you something, man. When you're turtling as a Zerg and you have the Protoss in this sort of abusive position, it's really tough to deal with. Because, like, look at all the Sunks and Lurkers. Who cares? I can Psy-Storm you. I don't even have to get a shuttle. I don't even have to, like, try. I just rotate my Templars around and storm you. And if you attack, I probably kill your whole army. You have to attack across 3 small bridges. Good luck with that, man.
Well, I think the only thing left open here to Jaedong is going to Hive Tech. Like, I think you absolutely need to get into Defiler to have really any sort of shot of getting some sort of cost efficiency, because you're definitely right. He can't attack anywhere. The amount of Psy Storms, like Maelstrom, I mean, we have all these Archons, like you mentioned. It looks impossible, but it's really hard to attack Jaedong right now as well. Maybe that 4th base can be busted, but you're not getting over those bridges.
Yeah, he's going to attempt to try to push up here. Oh, maybe he's just going to take the top right. The Defiler mounds here. You can see that with the Muta Hydra style, you kind of lock into layer tech for a while. The fact that he's storming these drones over and over like this is already probably... We may be to the point of no return here.
Well, I want to say that when there's a Defiler, there's a way. Because, you know, Dark Swarm obviously shuts down Dragoons and most of the Archon's attack. And then, like, Plague is just so strong against Protoss. So, like, I mean, if you're going to come back from a position like this, I think it does, it's Defiler-based, right? Like, you have to make Defilers do something pretty special. But it looks so bad.
I mean, I think you just go for Reaver.
Yeah.
I think you get, you know, 2 or 3 Robos, you
That
get
makes
Reavers, and you
sense.
just continue to sit here and run the clock.
Well, Tasteless, if you go Reaver, then I'm going Guardian.
Yeah. And if you go
So what
Guardian,
do you say about
I'm going
that,
Scout.
Tasteless?
Oh, there's a drone down here. I didn't even notice this. Okay, he kills the drone. The storms are just not ending, and you got to remember that, like, all the money that Jaedong's mining from this base is going into drones that are going to get killed over here. Like, you're not really getting value out of this base.
This is so crazy. The amount of storms he's done on the drones, the amount of drones that have died here is crazy.
It's also, you know, it's really funny because, like, it shows how smart Snow is. He's like, no, I'm not going to force anything. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to just milk as much of an advantage as I can from this position for as long as I can. It's so smart.
Other than Reavers, is there anything else you want to add as you get later into the game? Because, like, Snow is going to hit infinity, right? Like, he's maxed forever.
Right.
His money's going up. Like, his comp is still getting better, but, like, is there anything else?
You know, I don't think you need an Arbiter. I've heard some people say Arbiter. I think one thing you can do with an Arbiter is try to go for a recall if you wanted to. Like, let's say you recalled into his main.
Yeah.
But really, you just want, like, lots of Reavers. You know, get, like, 6 Reavers and 3 Shuttles. And then what you do is you kind of do this spread, right? You want, like, a Templar at each base. You want... I wouldn't mind seeing him remake Corsairs. That's never really going to be a bad thing. Corsairs are always handy in moments like this.
Oh, yeah, maybe, like, D-Web or something, too?
I don't even think... Well, I mean, I guess if you have this much money, yeah, why not get D-Web? D-Web is honestly, like, this matchup, I forget that it exists.
Yeah.
Tastosis points it out. I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess that is a thing. This is so funny. He's at the point where he's just storming the Scourge. Like, it doesn't matter. This energy is going to come back over and over again. Oh!
Dude, are you kidding me? He actually just Maelstrommed 1 Scourge.
Yeah.
Snow is actually... I almost feel like we're hitting overconfidence at this point. Like, I know it looks like 100% victory, but, like, we're using spells on things that cost, like, 7 minerals, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the Dark Swarms are going to come down here. I'm surprised we don't have the Reaver tech here yet, but I would imagine once you see Dark Swarm, you like have to like immediately get the Robo support back.
He has so many Storms though, and so many Archons. Like, again, maybe as Jaedong, I think you're trying to give yourself every chance, and maybe the one chance is complete overconfidence from Snow, where he just refuses to go Reaver, and then somehow you start to grind back.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, this is the only place that's mining right now. All the other bases have dried up. So, like, we're close to the end here. I mean, this is... Snow has played, I think, a very patient game here. He's going to try to feed back that Defiler. He does zap it. Nice job with the feedback. Never count out a Dark Archon. We don't see him all the time, but, like, they really do have a lot of great utility.
Now, Tasteless, what about this, right? Because Snow's money is, like, super high. If Jaedong turtles more, could there ever be a game where you mind control a drone? Can you tell me yes?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? I mean,
go Mutas, because, like...
usually you get mind control if you have speed shuttles. Because then you just, like, run somewhere and, like, grab one, like, drop a Zealot out to tank damage, like, grab one, pick it up, and run back out. And there it is, GG. Snow closes that out. That was an action-packed game where Snow really fought off every attack from Jaedong so well. And then, just like the sign of any really good player, he knew exactly how to win that game. He doesn't need to push. The Zerg has an expansion that is very easy to punish from the low ground. So make the Zerg figure this out. If you watch that, Snow never had to get a closer. Snow just basically let Jaedong dry up, and Jaedong was starved out of any kind of opportunities when that game went on long enough. Great game from Snow. Snow survives. He's moving on and going to the next round of the ASL. And I got to say, man, if there was a season that Snow was going to win, it does feel like this is that season.
I would definitely agree with that. He's better than he's ever been right now. Masterful defense against Jaedong. A really fun game, even if the end was kind of memey. But yeah, Snow advances in first place kind of as expected. And we're going to go ahead and hear from him in an interview now.
ASL 시즌 15 24강 D조 경기 함께하고 계십니다. 오늘의 첫 번째 16강 진출자 장윤철 선수 만나보겠습니다. 진출 축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
정말 꼼꼼하게 하시네요. 정말 안정적으로 오늘 꼭 16강에 가겠다라는 의지를 경기로도 보여주신 것 같은데요. 장윤철 선수 역시 강한 프로토스답게 2시즌 연속해서 16강에 올라가셨습니다. 팬들의 환호를 받으면서 이 자리에 서셨는데요. 기분이 어떠신가요?
일단 오늘 정말 확신 못했거든요. 진짜 떨어질 수도 있다고 생각하고 정말 열심히 했어요. 근데 다행히 좀 올라가서 좋네요.
저그 전에 무슨 깨달음을 얻은 것 같다 장윤철 선수 이런 이야기들도 많이 나왔는데요. 경기 전부터 승자전에서 이재동 선수를 만나고 싶다고 할 정도로 저그전에 대한 어느 정도의 자신감을 좀 끌어올리신 것 같은 느낌을 받았거든요.
사실 저그전은 제가 늘 자신은 있었어요. 근데 결과가 매번 안 좋아서 이제 시청자분들도 너는 저그전을 싫어하는구나 라고 생각하고 계셨겠지만 저는 사실 좋아하거든요. 자신 있어가지고 차라리 반반 나오는 푸푸전보다는 저그전이 훨씬 더 승률이 좋을 것 같다고 생각했어요.
오늘 이재동 선수와의 승자전에서도 경기 내내 집중력을 잃지 않는 장윤철 선수의 병력 움직임이 굉장히 좀 인상 깊었는데요. 빈집성으로 서로 계속 공격을 왔다 갔다 한 이후에 이재동 선수가 추가 멀티를 저지하기 위한 움직임을 계속해서 보여줬을 때 장윤철 선수가 하이템플러에 대한 집중력을 잃지 않고 스톰으로 모든 경기를 좀 해결하는 듯한 느낌이 있었어요.
네, 이게 사실 다크 아칸을 뽑았어야 되는데요. 그냥 고집 부렸어요. 그냥 에라 모르겠다 했는데 다행히 운이 좋아가지고 또 막아낼 수 있었던 것 같네요.
끊임없이 막아야 할 곳을 막아내고 뚫어야 할 곳을 뚫어내면서 결국에는 스톰으로 장윤철 선수 16강에 올랐다고 해도 과언이 아닌 멋진 경기를 또 보여주셨습니다. 16강에 다시 한번 오른 장윤철 선수, 치어풀들을 봐도 정말 장윤철 선수에게 거는 팬분들의 기대가 크다는 게 좀 느껴지는데요. 선수 본인은 어떤가요?
요즘 들어서 제가 또 막 게임을 사람은 약 올리면서 해요. 그러다 보니까 또 많은 분들이 좋아해 주셔가지고 실제로 이 오프라인에도 많이 응원 와주신 것 같더라고요. 그래서 달라진 거를 너무나도 많이 느끼고 있고 이렇게 많은 분들이 응원해 주시면 꼭 더 잘해서 더 올라가야 될 것 같습니다.
네, 많은 분들에게 또 즐거움을 안겨주는 장윤철 선수의 경기를 16강에서도 좀 기대해 보고 싶습니다. 끝으로 좀 감사해야 할 분들에게 인사해주는 시간 전해주시죠.
아 진짜 많이 도와줬어요. 막 병영이 형이나 성균이 형이나 뭐 수철이, 예훈이 형, 뭐 영환이 형 연습 상대가 너무 많아요. 병구 형이랑 진짜 이게 머리가 하얘져가지고 잘 또 잊어버릴 수도 있는데 제가 나중에 다 얘기하고 보답하겠습니다. 고맙습니다.
네, 장윤철 선수 16강에서 멋진 모습 기대하겠습니다. 진출 축하드립니다.
감사합니다. 영재 형도 도와줬어요.
네, 알겠습니다. 축하드립니다. 자, 이렇게 24강 D조에 가장 먼저 16강에 안착한 장윤철 선수와 함께했습니다.
실성사이다 제로 그래 걱정 빼고 고민 빼고 망설임 빼고 This is StarLeague 없어도 되는 건 빼고 실성사이다 제로
상큼함 맥스 칼로리 X 맛있는 탐스 제로 요즘 제일 탐나는 제로 우리들의 제로 탐스 제로 같이 떠나볼래?
Welcome back, everybody. ASL Group D continues on. Snow survives. That leaves us with 3 players left over here. Up next, it's Bishop versus Shuttle. We do have a Terran, a Protoss, and a Zerg left in Group D here. Bishop is definitely not favored here, but I think he does have a chance. I think he really does have a shot here.
Well, he has more of a shot now that I've seen the map. This is going to be the first time that we're showing 76. This map is absolutely insane, guys. Like, it's hard to even explain. But basically, there is, from your main base, 4-player map, from your main base, there is a tiny ramp. The biggest unit that can fit down it is a Hydralisk. So it's basically an island map in a lot of ways.
Right.
There, next to your spawning location, there are stacked mineral patches. So it's like fastest map for the first 54 seconds, I believe it is, of the game. So you can mine up really fast, and you can do something like expand right away, or make production facilities right away for a rush. Those are all possible. And also, there's a way to jump down to an expansion, but you have to do it before those mineral patches run out, because your way down disappears. It is one of the craziest maps that we literally have ever had.
I do want to tell you guys, and be as upfront as possible, is like, these are hard maps for us to cast, okay? Like, maps like this are made because they allow us to understand the game in a very different way, under very different parameters. But this is going to be a fun map to cast for sure, but it's going to be a tricky one and definitely more of an exploratory cast than some of our other stuff you might have heard. Looks like we're ready to go into that game now on our first ever cast on 76. Crazy Island map. Buckle up. Let's go.
And you can see the top right, we have Shuttle. And at the top left, we have Bishop.
seen these SCVs mine like this. So this is you can make maps like this. I don't know how you do it, but it's like fastest map for like right at the start. You mine that, so you're gonna get minerals in very, very quickly. Whenever I see this, I'm immediately brought back into being in a Korean PC cafe. And, you know, if you walk through a PC cafe, most of them are huge, by the way, but you'll always see a couple people playing Brood War, and always one of them is playing on a fastest money map.
Yeah, it is very, very popular because you get your money so quickly. You can see like how quickly he's building this building, right? Normally, the quickest you can make that is much later. You know, the mineral patches, there is a certain amount of them. These are actually hallucinated mineral patches. And, you know, you get them for 56 seconds, right? So you only have that little limited amount of time. And I think that the interesting thing about it is like the decision, do you go to expand? Do you go to rush? Do you just do a normal build order and have it really well optimized? It's, you know, it's definitely an interesting map in that regard, that it opens up a lot of decision making.
Yeah, there was a period where we had pure island maps. If you want to go have a real throwback, we had maps like called Dire Straits. And basically the conclusion is we can't really have maps where you start out with an island. That's not fair for the matchups. And so they've experimented with these semi-island maps, and this would be one of them. And this one, of course, you can move smaller units like Marine Zealots and Hydralisks up and down this tiny ramp. But obviously Dragoons and tanks cannot fit there. PvT, I feel like, even on the old island maps, I think there was a fair fight in some ways. The issue was always that Zerg, if it was a pure island map, there were just problems. And then they tried, is that map Sparkle? I get my maps mixed up, Tastosis.
The island map
They tried to make a map, they tried to make a map where the Zerg could fast expand, and then that turned out to be too good. So, we never found a happy medium, but we're still tinkering with maps like this here. Now, in this game, I saw double barracks from Bishop.
Yeah. So, again, you got to realize that for this map, that little ramp, very few things can fit up it. Like a Dark Templar's not going to fit up it. A Vulture, I believe, does not. Again, no Dragoons or anything, but Marine Medic will. Okay, so it seems to me like what Bishop has done here is he's decided, okay, we're going to do a Marine Medic Rush because it's very popular on this map to take a very fast Nexus, like a Nexus first, right? Because, like, you can't really rush up too easily, but if you go Marine Medic against something like that, it's going to be a free win. Now, here, you see it's a Robo, and he's not making an expansion. So this just, like, doesn't... This build is not going to work out for poor Bishop.
Yeah, you know, for Bishop over here, first of all, when you see the barracks making, you know, that should... Your suspicions should kick in, right? You're like, you're making more Marines right now? Why are you doing that? How many more Marines are you going to make? Oh, are you going to go Medic Marine? And he's trying to cancel a Marine every time the Zealot comes out. But now this means we have Marines coming out of one barracks. It would have almost been better to, like, just make 2 more barracks back here and just never make anything out of that one barracks. If a Reaver is made, unless you have the worst control ever with that Reaver, like you lose the shuttle with the Reaver in it, you should just die. But I don't see a shuttle out yet. I see an observer out. Medic Marine can beat a Zealot and a Dragoon if they're in low numbers.
Absolutely, they'll crush it. But I guess that's really the question. Like, is he going to get that before the Marine Medic gets to his base? Now, the Zealot has backed all the way up, so he's not going to see the Marines and Medics coming. So maybe a little bit of a mistake here from Shuttle. Maybe this opens up an opportunity for Bishop. Okay, when that scan goes down, you're like, oh, Marine Medic.
Oh, when he pulls the boys.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Marine King.
That's the way to do it, man. And there's a shuttle. Now, there's no Reaver in there, by the way. I think probably it has the 2 Zealots in it, but not entirely sure.
All right, man. This is a down and dirty game. Bishop doesn't want to make an expansion.
No, he does not.
Oh, the shuttle. The shuttle.
Oh, okay. He actually had a Dragoon and a couple Zealots. Now, here comes the drill of SCVs. You have to time this perfectly. The SCVs have to do a lot of fighting here. Look at that. Gets them all up the rank, gets them all attacking. This is pretty good for Bishop.
I mean, I think the shuttle might die here.
It's possible. It is possible, but he added another gateway. He's clearing a lot of the SCVs, but a lot of Marine Medic is still here.
He's doing a really good job with those Dragoons, by the way. Is
Yeah.
Dragoon range done? Looks like it is, but Dragoon range is done. There's a little bit more you can do with this.
Oh,
That
man.
Shuttle's still around. Okay,
Well, that's not good. If that goes down, all the probes being pulled now. There is a bunker being made. And, dude Shuttle is going to get last place in this Group 2 Marine Medic Rush. Craziness.
Yeah, the pylon goes down. That's literally every... Oh, I guess he could make a Reaper out of here. He's going to kill the other pylon, though. And the Shuttle's low on HP. And you know what? The Reaper doesn't even get out. That is the end of Shuttle's story, man.
That's rough. You can see the look on his face. He's like, oh, my God, I just died to Marine Medic.
He's fuming right now, man. He is so salty right now.
Yeah. This is like a build that's meant to kill someone who goes Nexus very quickly. And he didn't even do that. He did a build that should be able to shut it down, and unfortunately just gets caught off guard. So Bishop gets that victory. Now, that makes me just a little bit nervous for Jaedong, to be honest, because you can make some sharp builds in TVZ. If something goes wrong, I could see Bishop possibly knocking Jaedong out.
Yeah, you know, look, Bishop, for those of you guys who have been watching a lot of StarCraft, you might not be that familiar with this guy. I mean, he is good. He knows how to win. We've seen that already. Shuttle, you know, unfortunately not immediately teching the Reaver. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I saw Bishop cancel what was making out of the barracks over and over again. I guess he never picked up on this rush coming, because once you see it making like more than one Marine, I would just immediately go directly into a Reaver. Guys, we're going to be going to a short commercial break, and when we come back, it's going to be the last match in Group D. Either Bishop, the underdog of this, honestly, most of this ASL, or Jaedong, the fan favorite, will move on, depending on who wins in this final match. I think we're ready for that break now. I think I jumped the gun there a little bit. Anyways, guys, a couple minutes off, and when we return, our final match of the evening.
을 아주 적절하게 지금은 잘 맞춰야지, 안 그러면 상대 병력의 양이 너무 많기는 하거든요.
그렇죠. 이 다수의 스톰을 통해서 이 병력 지금 몰아내야 되거든요. 지금 여기서 앵글은 맷집 삼아가지고 들어가고 있거든요.
네.
자, 위로 온다 위쪽으로 지병력 뚫기 위해서 들어갑니다.
만화가 좀 떨어지기만을 바라는데 그렇다면 템플러가 막 잡히는 상황은 안 보이거든요.
자, 피해가면서요. 지금 수비를 계속 와요.
네. 액으로 맷집을 해주다 보니까 공격이 약간 빗나가면서 왼쪽 언덕이 지금은 본진 쪽 언덕에 히드라가 올라와 있습니다. 톰 한 발만 준비될 때까지 최대한 버텨내려고 했었는데 언덕이가 뚫렸습니다.
거리가 있잖아요. 본진과 연수 확장 간의 거리는.
그렇죠. 여기 탱크 퍼져나가고 있고.
양자체가 많이 늘었습니다.
나이는 아직 이건 쌓였어야 하거든요. 발키리는.
그렇죠. 지금 투리가 있는 이런 상황인데 멀티 접촉을 내줄 수 있는 상황이 됐습니다.
자, 여기 박살납니다. 시간 안 줍니다. 안 줘요.
발키리 지금은 또 잡았죠. 이 지역이 여기에서 터렛이 닿지 않기 때문에
그동안의 4강에 잡아낸 선수 단 한 명도 없었는데
고속 현실도 있었거든요. 그죠? 이거 자, 코너입니다. 당연히 코너입니다. 드랍함으로 수준이 다르게 와요. 생각은 많은데 생각이 너무 많아서 미나을도 못 뽑고 있는데.
그렇죠. 태풍전야입니다. 태풍전야.
12시 혹은 6시 쪽 생각을 해야 되거든요.
열려라 멀티. 열려라 확장.
드랍이구나. 이거 드랍이구나.
이거는 안 되겠지. 근데 그런데 뒷발레
F15
원정 개발까지 끝났어요.
이게 수비하러 오기에도
하지만 이 뒷마당을 어떻게 활용하는지가 가장 중요한데. 뒷다리에도 나왔어요.
네. 손에 들었어요.
빠르게 시도를 하지 않으면 상대도 그만큼 자원을 먹고 있기 때문에 대비가 되거든요.
네.
자, 여기다 에그 태어나자마자 태어나자마자 지금은 경고하는 럼커 넘기기 플레이.
이거 뭐 하시는 거예요?
본진한 쪽으로 들어오던 또 이거 벌처를 이쪽 안마랑 쪽으로 또 보내면서 다 안 돼 있어요 지금.
대단히 벌쳐가지고 오면서
네.
건대를 할 수 있는 기회를 잡았습니다.
요거 아주 좋네요.
예.
네, 아비터를 중심으로 경기 운영하는
오,
것이
여기다.
여기 무슨
얼마 처럼
분명히 치킨데요.
자, 내리긴 했습니다만 이 마인이 있었고요.
네.
들어갑니까 이번에?
마인의 숫자가 여기는 별로 안 보이고요.
싸울
저
거면
위에 탱크.
왼쪽부터 뚫는 게 좋지 않았을까 싶은데 여기 마인이 많은 지역이거든요. 마인이 많은 지역입니다.
병력이.
자, 역시 테란 업잘된 테란의 탱크 화력은
잘 먹은
접어야죠,
탱크.
와.
한 번에 4그릇 먹는다는 거잖아요.
흡수필드죠.
네, 그렇죠.
예.
물량이 터져 나옵니다.
네.
팩토리가 좀 완성됐고요. 2일업이에요.
이상하죠? 아니 뭐 저렇게 많지? 프로토스 입장에서 그런 생각 몰락장을 모르니까요.
네. 트리플 지역 쪽을 분명히 먹기 불편하게 만들었거든요.
네.
근데 계속 살이 찌는 거예요. 이게 좀 이상하다.
계속 쏟아질 수밖에 없는 상황이고요.
배부른 봉군 말릴 수가 없죠.
말려요. 실력을 조금씩 검증받고 있는 선수예요.
한번 압박을 하면서 벌쳐 난입까지 짓고 생각을 하기는 했습니다.
와, 이거 킬 맞고.
자, 막아섰고요.
자, 거리 유지하면서 전면에 있는 병력들 다 끊어요.
자, 마인 끌기
오!
수비를 해냈고
네.
드라군과 용병과 정확하게 타이밍이 지금은 확보가 되면서 압박도 지금은 막혔죠.
네, 탱크 3개 지금 다 잡히게 생겼어요.
와. 지금 이기고 있다 이거죠.
네, 빌드 오늘은
여러 가지를 준비를 한 결과 마음이 편하니까 그냥 과감한 빌드 안마랑부터 먹고
스코어가 앞서고 있는 것을 이용할 수 있어야 돼. 와 게이트!
게이트예요. 아니 게이트입니다.
네.
놀랄 거예요. 덱서스 언제 지는 거야? 그 다음에 게이트는 왜 이렇게 또 빠른 거야?
엄청 과감하게 지금은 태클을 빠르게 확보를 해요. 이게 좁은 구역에서
와, 돌리기. 와.
안
세이브
생겨.
바로 와요.
약간 미끼 같은 이런 느낌으로
너무 잘 살려요.
All right, we're back, man. 2 remain. Only 1 can move on. And I mean, besides Bishop's mom and dad, I'm pretty sure everybody here is rooting for Jaedong. You know, to be honest, like, you know, it's one thing to be a fan of some of these players, but the truth is, like, whenever Jaedong wins or gets deep in a tournament, it's actually so good for the numbers of the game and the show. And everybody, I really do have my fingers crossed that, you know, that Jaedong can get deep in here. Because, you know, honestly, a lot of our old great Zergs are not the players that are getting deep in ASL anymore. It's really kind of this new age of players.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Like Soma and stuff. I guess we still have Queen and Hero doing well, but
sure.
You know, we want to see Jaedong do well. Like this is the guy that if he wins championship, it feels like that's like a nostalgia that you really want. This guy has always been such a great character within the scene. You know, really the greatest Zerg player of all time. And, you know, he only made 1 run in ASL that was really, really good. And then, of course, he made it to the KSL finals at one time and unfortunately did end up getting swept by last. But everyone's dying for a Jaedong championship.
Yeah, that was a fun finals, man. Watching Jaedong versus Last, but yeah, he's hungry to try to come back here and take a StarLeague, and this is the StarLeague now. We're gonna go to Retro for our final match. Bishop versus Jaedong starts now, a best of 1 to move on to the round of 16 here in the ASL.
All right, so top right we have Bishop, and top left we have Jaedong. This map, Retro, it's like pretty standard. It's a little light on expansions for a 4-player map, right? There's only 12 expands, so instead of, like we always talk about quadrants in these maps, because that's like a helpful way to talk about it, especially with the Terran in the game, because you generally just expand within your little defendable quadrant. But you basically, each base has 3 bases, right? Like top right that we're looking at right here, it has the natural right below, and then there's a 3rd base below that. But after that, you kind of have to go further away. The top left's 3rd base is kind of near you, so maybe you could try to consider that a quadrant, but obviously that can be fought over since it's so close to your opponent's base.
Yeah, I am excited to cast more games on this map. I am liking some of these maps where we have a little bit less bases.
Yeah, there's something about them that makes the game a little bit more interesting. It almost gives like a little bit more of a comeback mechanic, right? Because when whatever matchup it may be, the race that like out expands, like for instance Terran versus Protoss, on these really big maps that have 16 bases, once Protoss starts getting ahead, then they're on like 7 base, and you're like, well,
oh yeah, and the thing is,
there's no comeback here.
There's at least 3 more bases they can take anyways.
Yeah.
It's like where it can kind of force you to like, okay, figure it out, sort it out, especially for the race that the grower race, like a Zerg and a ZVP. Like we suddenly saw this interesting position where Jaedong only had that 1 base he could take, and Snow was able to take the game from there, right?
Yeah.
Same thing here for Terran vs Protoss, where it's like, okay, Protoss, you don't get 9 possible bases on this map.
That's right.
You've got like 5 or something.
Yeah, I wonder if this is, because we've seen a few maps popping up like this, I wonder if this is going to be like the future of StarCraft. Because we've had like 16 base 4-player maps for so long, these 4-base quadrant type ideas. But
yeah.
Honestly, looking at it, there's something, it feels a little bit more scrappy, like you have to battle a little bit more for your position. I don't know. I'm taking it so far. I think this season is actually going to teach us a lot about the way maybe maps should be made in the future.
I want to just go out on a limb and say this. I don't know how many map makers watch this English cast, but I would like to have a very normal-looking map with just 1 crazy feature. I feel like when you look at like 76, they have like 4 crazy things happening on the map, which is okay. That's cool. That's great. But I would like, dude, this is barracks in the air and there are lings coming over here.
Yeah, he's gonna die probably.
This is so bad, dude. He's gonna kill the SCV. This is the worst thing that could have ever happened to Bishop here.
Yeah,
oh
it's pretty bad. He's got to get a vulture out. Like you know what? He just killed a bunch of lings very quickly right there. But obviously, like Jaedong is gaining a big advantage here. Just the lost mining time alone is amazing, but he's killed the ling. He's killed several SCVs already. Still going after more. Oh my God, gets another 2.
This is wild, man.
Oh,
gets another one. So just to finish that point I was making, I mean, give me a map that looks like this, but then give me the BGH minerals under the Nexus. Or give me a map like this, and then just give me the small ramp. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we have some map makers where they want to, okay, it's not only is it an island map, but there's like eggs block everything off, and there's disruption webs here. And, it's just, because I think if we just introduce one radical idea onto a map that otherwise would be a pretty standard ladder map, that's where we're going to go to somewhere interesting, You know
what? I like what you're saying. It's a good point. It's a good point. I wouldn't mind seeing a map like that. You really made me kind of think. Now, looking at this game, like, Bishop is in terrible shape. I think he's bending out of whatever he was going to do into something else very likely here. He's continuing to mine gas. He's making some Marines. Okay, a second factory. And he's going up against a Hydralisk Den. So, actually, like, the build that Bishop is doing is giving himself a decent chance. If you think it's going to be a very technical build coming out of Bishop, like I'm talking, like, let's say you think he's going to go Vulture Drop, right? Then I think it's really smart to make the Hydralisk Den. But something like this where it's like 2 factory plus Marines, well, all this is going to give him is an entrenched push. And if you happen to go mutas against this, he has no chance of victory. But in this case, he has a chance of victory. Even though this was a terrible opener, if you just look blindly at what they're both doing, it's like, okay, like, this is what Bishop hopes he's against.
Do you want to just only make tanks, or do you make vultures with this, or how does this work?
Yeah, you have to make tank vulture. Like, you can't support 2-factory siege tank right now. Basically, you're going to set up a bunker, siege tank push down as much as you can, and then utilize vultures to try to kill off drones, you know, lay mines if you need to, whatever it might be.
This is a very interesting situation here. You know, the Lynx can't really contest with the vulture. Oh, maybe Jaedong's Lynx can. I can't believe that. Wow.
Yeah, very nice catch. He's making so many Lings right now, but the thing is he saw the Lings hatching. So Bishop is staying back for an extra moment, and if he gets up to like 4 speed vultures, the Lings don't do anything.
Yeah, once you get a high enough number. Now, that being said, if the Lings can just surround the tanks and Marines, that's going to be a win in of itself as well. And, I mean, what do you want to make any Hydras versus? I'm not really sure if I understand the ins and outs of this.
I feel like I would want to go layer right now, and you know, try to buy time and get up into. Oh God, hold on! We actually have a bunch of Lings coming down as the tanks and Marines try to move out. Now the vultures are going to come up, and they will certainly help clear quite a bit. Some speedlings going towards that main base, but again, like the vultures can clear this.
Yeah, these Lings are going to come up here now. They're going to take out these SCVs. And really, Jaedong's, you know, it's like all of his other games here today. He relies on counterattacks so much because he wants to basically force them to never get close to where he is. And, dude, there was like 4 SCVs mining minerals right now, Tastosis. It's so bad.
He's down to 6 SCVs total.
Oh.
Like, that is terrible. And look at this. He's doing stifled sunken colonies all over the place just to slow this down. And there's that Spire. Really, plays like this, like one-base plays, Mutalisks are absolutely king.
Right.
You know, you can build like a million turrets here, but Jaedong's going to have complete control. Honestly, he doesn't even have the economy to do that. So these Sunkens will slow everything down dramatically. And by the time he gets through them, Mutas will be out. And then there's nothing left.
Yeah, I mean, the Spire is just now going to finish. And, you know, I got to say, a lot of desperation here from Bishop. I get it. I mean, you're against some of the very, very best in the whole world. You definitely got unlucky with this group.
Yeah. Dude, he is the Terran 815 of this season.
He
3
really
absolute all-ins in a row. A 2-factory starport build against Snow, a Marine medic build against Shuttle, and now a 1-base 2-factory siege tank push against Jaedong. It's like just the craziest all-ins he could come up with.
Oh, yeah. So Jaedong basically has this one in the bag. The Mutas hatched. There is a Marine here. The Vultures will come in and try to kill the drones. They will ultimately be wiped out by the Sunks. And that is it, man. There is no way to recover from a position like this. I mean, you don't even have a second base up yet. GG. Short and simple. Our boy Jaedong is moving on to the next round. Very cool to see.
Yeah, great to see him go through. You can tell he's very happy with himself. You know, it was a tough loss against Snow, but Snow is one of the best in the world right now. Bishop paying his respects to the legend. And the tournament, Tasteless, just got even better because Jaedong is playing some fantastic StarCraft and goes through that round of 16, man. I cannot wait to see how far he gets.
Fun seeing Bishop play here. I would have liked him to play maybe some a little bit more standard stuff. I've seen him playing against the very best in the world, and he can hang. I think it wasn't necessary to try to get, you know, only the craziest, cheesiest builds. Also, like, when you do this, like, a couple games in a row, everybody's like, oh, all right, I got to be on the lookout for everything, you know?
Yeah.
The scariest players are the ones that do a crazy cheese, but most of the time they're playing standard macro games.
That's it's a good point actually. You know, maybe he looked at the group and just decided, okay, you know what, maybe I'm nervous. Like this is my best chance for a victory.
Sure.
What can you do?
The players that get in like an ASL like once every 2 or 3 years, it's a completely different beast from the players who get into ASL every season, right?
Yeah.
Those guys are very comfortable on that stage. For somebody like Bishop, it's probably a real learning experience to just actually sit down and play in a giant studio next to Jaedong, who is there for the sole purpose of killing you and winning this whole tournament.
Yes, indeed. So Jaedong advancing. Let's hear from
ASL
him.
시즌 15 24강 D조 경기 모두 만나보셨습니다. 오늘의 마지막 16강 진출자는요. 폭군 이재동 선수입니다. 지금 바로 함께 하시죠. 축하드립니다.
아, 감사합니다.
모든 경기가 끝나고 나서야 이재동 선수의 표정이 조금은 풀어지는 듯한 모습을 볼 수 있었습니다. 최종전까지 마음을 한시도 놓으실 수 없었을 것 같은데요. 그럼에도 지난 시즌의 아쉬움을 극복하시고 16강에 오르셨습니다. 이재동 선수의 소감을 먼저 들어볼까요?
생각보다 긴장이 좀 많이 돼가지고 오늘 좀 잘 한 건지 잘 모르겠는데 그래도 올라가게 돼가지고 굉장히 기분이 좋고 16강도 잘하고 싶습니다.
두 번의 프로토스전과 마지막 최종전에서의 테란전을 끝으로 16강에 오른 이재동 선수인데요. 마지막 최종전에서 또 예선에서의 스토리가 있었던 정민기 선수를 만났을 때 참 초반 빌드를 어떻게 풀어나가실까 굉장히 좀 궁금했습니다. 이전에도 정민기 선수가 김윤중 선수의 패자전에서 좀 승부를 보는 빌드를 썼기 때문에 이재동 선수의 머릿속이 조금은 복잡하지 않았을까 생각이 드는데 최종전을 앞두고 이재동 선수의 머릿속은 어떤 빌드로 좀 채워져 있었나요?
개인적으로 좀 윤중이가 좀 무서웠는데 민기가 올라와줘가지고 살짝 마음은 조금 편하긴 했어요. 테란전 자신도 있었고 그래서 그냥 약간 안진마로 선풀해서 그냥 운영하려고 했는데 운 좋게 게임이 잘 된 것 같아요.
네, 빠르게 치려던 정민기 선수를 오히려 더 빠르게 좀 이재동 선수가 공격을 하면서 깔끔하게 승리를 거두셨는데 오늘 펼치셨던 두 번의 프로토스전 이야기를 좀 해보면 두 번의 김윤중 선수와 장윤철 선수의 토스전 모두 좀 제공권을 빠르게 잡고 뮤타를 좀 방업을 올리면서 하는 플레이를 보여주셨던 것 같아요. 좀 준비를 해오셨을까요? 이런 운영은?
그냥 준비를 딱히 해온 건 아닌데 평소 하던 대로 하려고 했는데 이제 1경기 때 게임 하는데 손이 너무 잘 움직여가지고 약간 윤철이랑 할 때도 한번 움직임으로 약간 게임 해보자 그렇게 게임 해봤는데 점중이랑 윤철이랑 좀 다르네요.
오히려 이제 스쿼지와 뮤탈 방업으로 김윤정 선수와의 경기에서는 제공권을 꽉 잡고 난 이후에 이재동 선수가 굉장히 부유하게 가시더라고요. 하이브를 가지 않고 부유하게 가는 판단은 이후에 드랍까지 좀 어느 정도 염두를 해두셨던 움직임이었을까요?
일단 좀 유리하다는 생각이 좀 들어가지고 단장이 능선이 은근히 한방 병력이 굉장히 세서 최대한 좀 조심해서 운영하려고 해서 이제 드랍하면서 최대한 약간 수비적으로 하려고 했습니다.
김윤중 선수의 경기에서 움직임이 너무 좋았던 이재동 선수, 그래서 장윤철 선수와의 경기가 이재동 선수 입장에서는 개인적으로 좀 아쉬우셨을 것 같아요. 어떤 부분이 좀 가장 아쉽게 남으시나요?
그냥 제가 리플을 봤는데 제가 조금만 잘했으면 이긴 게임이더라고요. 근데 개인적으로 제가 올라갔기 때문에 16강에서 이런 경험 쌓아가지고 16강에서 또 더 잘할 수 있다고 저는 생각하고 있어서 괜찮습니다.
오히려 디딤돌을 삼아서 16강에서 극복하는 모습을 보여주겠다는 이재동 선수입니다. 오늘 현장에 정말 많은 이재동 선수의 팬분들이 찾아와 주셨습니다. 많은 힘을 받으셨을 것 같은데요. 어떠셨나요?
일단 오랜만에 이제 오프라인 경기라서 굉장히 긴장도 많이 되고 이제 팬 여러분들한테 이게 마지막 경기일 수도 있으니까 탈락하면 그래서 잘해야겠다는 좀 부담도 있었는데 올라가서 굉장히 좋고 16강도 올라가서 제가 며칠 전에 영상을 봤는데 그 2016년도에 했던 ASL이 나오더라고요. 11년도인가? 근데 그때가 이제 4강이었는데 그때 이후로 제가 못 올라간 것 같아가지고 이번 시즌에 한번 올라가 보겠습니다.
팬분들의 아쉬움을 이번 시즌을 통해서 날려주겠다는 이재동 선수, 팬분들 입장에서 너무나 든든할 것 같습니다. 이재동 선수 컨디션 관리 잘하셔서 16강에서도 멋진 모습 기대하겠습니다. 끝으로 하고 싶은 말씀해 주시죠.
그 연습을 도와준
네.
일단 택신 그리고 병명이 동준이 이렇게 너무 고맙고요. 그리고 그 어제 이제 축구를 보는데 아스날이 이제 96분에 골을 넣어서 역전을 했어요.
네.
근데 이제 제가 게임하면서 불리해도 끝까지 한번 게임 해보자 그런 생각으로 이제 오늘 한번 왔거든요.
네.
이겨서 굉장히 좋네요. 그래도.
아스널의 기운을 받아서 오늘 이렇게 최종전 끝에 16강까지 오른 이재동 선수 어느 정도 높이까지 오를지 아마 팬분들도 끝까지 함께 응원해 주실 것 같습니다. 오늘 진출 다시 한번 축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
자, 이렇게 오늘의 마지막 16강 진출자 이재동 선수와 함께했습니다.
It is crazy how packed that studio is when he wins, man. There are a lot of people that will just show up to a Jaedong match. This guy can draw a crowd. That does it for Group D, everybody. I got to say, this was a lot of fun. I even enjoyed the weird strategies Bishop tried to pull off here to swing a game in his favor. You know, he did work against Shuttle. He ended up taking him out. But Snow and Jaedong moving on, I think this is really good for the show. I'm really excited, man, to see, you know, how far Snow can go, and who knows how far Jaedong can go. It is still Terran heavy, but we'll see how this all maps out as we get further along here in the in this season of ASL.
Well, certainly the round of 16 is shaping up. It's looking a lot better right now. You know, obviously we're missing Mini and Soma, who were both upset. Those are guys that you actually expect top 4, let alone leaving so early on. But it is great to see Snow and Jaedong go on. Dude, honestly, like, I think everyone is going to be keeping their eye on Jaedong this season. His games were so refreshing. It felt like the old Kespa days watching him play so well once again.
Yeah, he looks to be in very good form here. And I'll tell you what, man, I mean, he almost killed Snow back there. I'd be very worried going up against Jaedong. Up next is Group E. We're going to get this recorded right away. Queen, Ruin, Shine, Mong. This is going to be a really fun one.
This one is incredibly hard to actually predict. I think all 4 of these players have a reasonable chance of getting out of this group. Shine has been in great shape. Ruin is one of the best up-and-coming Protosses for the last year and a half. And, you know, Mong is solid. Queen is always top-tier player. It's going to be a great group. Underrated group,
you know,
for sure.
I think Queen and Shine get out. I think you cannot count Shine out. He's shown that he really knows how to navigate a tournament. That's totally different from just, you know, having a whole bunch of really good builds. Shine is literally the polar opposite of Jaedong, by the way. It's like Jaedong's like all mechanics and tactics, and Shine is all these like strategies and prep. We got a lot of great different Zergs here. And then, I mean, Queen, I think Queen is just like easily one of the best players in our whole tournament. But Ruin and Mong, man, don't count him out. I think Ruin especially has really impressed me with a lot of his cool builds. And I look forward to seeing how he's going to perform here.
Yeah, it's going to be a great group. I definitely do agree with you on that. Well, that does it for us, guys. Thank you so much for subscribing on the Patreon. If you haven't yet, check it out, patreon.com/ASL English.
We love you guys. Thank you again for the support on Patreon. Sign up for a year if you can. That really makes a huge difference for us. We love you. Take care, and we'll see you in Group E. Bye-bye.